Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Randomer Nintendo podcast. I am your host Angel Salado, and I am also joined by two fellow hosts, Jason R, wherever you are.
I am here, and I don't get a full last name. I mean, that's fine, but okay,
You know, anonymity and all that.
sure.
And Kevin Gomez.
What if I didn't want my last name being told? Good.
Only I
Okay.
get that courtesy.
Good
Apparently,
thing this is not live. In that case, you'd be able to edit that.
you could just bleep it as if he called you something way worse than your
No,
last
it's fine.
name.
I've already given out my signature, my actual signature that I put on official documents.
That you signed our one of our prizes with, right?
That's right.
At this point, what does my name matter? My social
might as well
security
just-
number is.
Yeah, I was about to say, just
I
give
mean,
it
couldn't
out.
people surmise that also from your Twitter?
No, not
Don't you
necessarily.
have your last name somewhere?
Yeah, you could probably.
it's-
It's probably be the most like educated guess. I could be
It's a
Lopez.
few letters different. It's a few letters different.
I could have sworn your full name was somewhere, or at least like your first and last name.
Yeah, on his birth certificate and legal documents like his passport.
Like on Twitter, I thought. Like,
Yeah, my Twitter account.
when you pick someone's
My-
profile, doesn't it give you like their first and last name?
My personal
Actually,
Twitter account.
in Angel's defense, Kevin, if people piece together your gamer account with your I'm going to wade into politics account, they would get your full name because you use the different variants of how you, they would be able to piece it together with a little detective work.
Maybe that's what I was thinking about, because I knew the pieces are out there,
Yeah.
published by Kevin. Just forgot how.
Meanwhile, if you look up me and Ram Nintendo, you get like all my information, and yet Angel was kind enough to not say my last name. And why did I just dox myself on a recording?
I'm definitely not editing that one out.
I'm sure anyone that was curious already tried that. So. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well tell them like the street you work on. as
Listen, my
well.
routing number for my checking account is no.
Wow. Well, hopefully you've all been well. We did not record last week. We delayed by a week, but that did give us Thanksgiving break
Mhm.
for those of you that have that, or just do anything for Thanksgiving. Or what else happened in between? We had a trip to Disney that I keep thinking Jason was there
So
for.
we,
but...
to clarify, means angel in this circle. In this group of three, we is one.
the royal we.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, if I go to Mexico, you all go to Mexico.
I mean, that'd be
like in
cool.
spirit,
I'd be
or
down
like
to- oh, okay.
like when I was in Japan, you guys were basically there in Japan in spirit.
Actually, you did FaceTime me twice, so it was like I was there. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess since we last recorded, I don't know if any of you have a quick anecdote or if anything's been up lately, or if anything
I
popped up there like, oh,
was shaken to my core about 25
this
minutes
is
ago.
your grab bag section.
Yeah, no, I got one.
Okay.
I got one. So,
Oh boy.
25 minutes ago, I went to Wendy's, and I've been shaken to my core. Let me explain. I went to the drive-thru.
Imagine if you just stopped there, like you did not bother to explain.
And I went to the drive-thru. That's my story. Thanks for tuning in. No, I went to the
And then he
drive-thru.
over-explained, and it's like, all right, move on.
No,
come
no,
on.
you do. Okay, so it is going to sound like I'm over-explaining, but bear with me. So I went to the drive-thru, and I noticed when I was waiting in the drive-thru that the guy on the PA, you know, the Wendy's person, was saying good afternoon, even though it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, well, that's a little weird, but okay. And then I get up to the PA box, and it was a super chipper friendly guy. He's like, you know, good afternoon, welcome to Wendy's. Please wait 1 sec. I'm like, okay, sure. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, sorry about that. I'm like, oh, no worries. And he's like this really happy guy. And the PA was really crisp audio. And like, it felt like they like upgraded the PA. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Do the order, you know, he's like asking why I want my burger. Just a reminder, it comes with tomato, da-da-da-da. Like he was like super friendly. And then I, put in the order, start driving to the window, and I happen to be waiting a little further down. I hear the car behind me. And this guy, who seems a little overly enthusiastic about his job, did the exact same comments to the person behind me in the same intonation. And I realized I was carrying a conversation that I thought was with a real human with an AI bot. It's that good that I got duped into thinking I was talking to a real human. Like I was saying, you know, he's like, sorry, I'm taking a few minutes. Like, oh, no
On
worries.
one hand, I'm like, oh, that's not that surprising. But I think the fact that you actually thought it was a person.
That's
It's actually kind of
that.
scary
Well, that's
because
what's.
I feel
It was
like,
that good. He was overly chipper.
yeah.
He was definitely
Until you
overly
said
chipper.
that, I thought they hadn't gotten there yet.
I know,
I mean, at least I
right?
haven't heard any like that yet. Now I'm
And you
curious.
know,
Maybe I just need to go to Wendy's.
if I stop and like play back the conversation, like maybe I should have picked up on, oh, this is a little like way too enthusiastic for anyone that works at Wendy's. And oh, like, you know, why would he list off every ingredient in my junior bacon cheeseburger to confirm I want it? Like most people just say, do you want everything? But it was so organic. Like it was canned messages. It wasn't like real time, you know, audio. It was canned things based on your responses, but it was so fluid. You know, even when he said, sorry, it took a few minutes, I said, no worries. He's like, thanks. So what can I get you? And I'm just like, he's responding to me like directly to what I'm saying, not just
Huh.
like canned things like, what would you like? Do you want barbecue? Yes or no? Like it was just like, what sauce would you like? I'm like, barbecue. He's like, great, barbecue it is. And I'm like, okay. And
Yeah, like, yeah, you don't have to repeat it.
like, yeah, it was just like he was really chipper. And I was like, okay, this has to be a bot. So I get to the first window to pay. And the guy sounds totally different. So I'm like, all right, it probably is a box. He usually takes the order. But then where I get a little tripped up is I go to the second window to get my food. And the dude handing me the drink and the food kind of is as chipper, but not to the same extent. Like he had kind of a like pep in his step. But I was like, wait, is it him? Was I listening to him? And then I Googled it. And no, it is an AI bot for real. And the fact that we are at the point in 2023 where I got legit tricked by an AI bot to think I was talking to a real person is very weird. And I don't know how to feel about it, but it was kind of mind blowing in the moment. So I'm still reeling from that. But that was my big
Yeah,
experience. Yeah.
that's that's quite the tale. It does remind me of a post I saw the other day where yeah, it was just another like, damn, this is just the kind of reality we're in where some people just have to be careful for this. And it was just someone basically fishing for I
Mm.
guess communication with other people on the
Mm-hmm.
internet, and then they'll message them and like, "Oh, hey, it's me," and they're like, "No, it's not," and then they'll be like, "Yes, it is," and then they're like, "Look," and then they're like, "Well, like, send me a message with a voice," and then they just like put AI voice, and then they're like, "Oh, it is you. Okay, let me call you," and it's like, damn, like that's kind of
Well,
a minor thing. Like, I think they were using it like a joke or
no, but
like
that's a real
to prank that
scam. Like
person,
scammers will take
but no, but
audio.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the fact that people can do that and. For a fact, it's gonna trick a ton of people
Like
that
elderly
just
in
don't know
particular.
better.
Yep, yep. Hey,
Yeah, we
Grandma,
have
I'm
to.
in jail. I need your help. I happen to extract all this audio from 12 years worth of
Yeah, especially I
podcasts
mean,
by
if you're
Jason.
famous,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, if you have a famous voice, there's a chance it's already an AI
It
bot of
doesn't have to be
you.
famous. It could be us. I remember I was saying
No,
people
no,
could
I
find my
know.
information online. They could also spoof me easily, and you, Kevin. Like it's so easy, but
That's true. There is hours and hours of material they can use to
hundreds of
train an
hours.
AI
What
on our
what's
voice.
what's scary to me about, or not scary, but what's interesting to me about is like I feel like I crossed like a Rubicon or a threshold these last couple of weeks with AI because it used to be like we are sort of intrinsically trained with like some sort of like I don't want to call it media literacy, but like we have, you go on the internet, you see a video or a photo, and you're like, oh, maybe that's fake. Oh, maybe that's shopped. Oh, I know, whatever. Like I know to be cautious. Or like you go and you seek out AI, like you go to Chat GPT and you say, hey, I have a question that I want you to answer. Or you go like Dolly or one of those image things, you're like, I want you to render a unicorn on a back of a hippo, and it just does it. And like those situations with
Yeah,
AI, like you're kind of in the pilot seat and you know it's coming. It's when you don't expect it and Mr. Friendly Wendy's man is actually a robot. Or even last week I was doing some stuff with Photoshop and I used the generative fill and generative expand features for the first time. And what used to take me hours, like if you go to randomtown.com and look at the podcast banners we had from the old show, if you go back and you see how I had a lot of fun with those, but it took me forever to cut things out, to make backgrounds go beyond what they do. Like we had 1,000 pixel background and I needed it to be 1,200. So I'd like make 100 extra pixels with like clone stamps and stuff like that. Like the fact that now I don't even type, I just expand the crop tool and it just fills it in perfectly in like under a minute, and it used to take me hours. Like there's just like AI's like reached a point where it's not like I was saying AI fill this in. I just like I need to expand an image, bloop, and it's done. Or like I need an order from Wendy's, bloop, and it's a robot. Like it's just we've hit that point where it's just like integrated past the point of like it being AI. It's just like computers just doing things that are now like in your life, whether you know they're there or not. And that's weird. Like even with Siri, like a decade ago,
yeah,
it was very like scripted and structured, and it still
it's
is.
definitely concerning because
Yeah.
like I consider myself pretty confident when it comes to the online stuff. I mean, us in particular, I feel like we landed in that nice sweet spot where we kind of saw the evolution of just modern
Internet.
internet or computer
Mm-hmm.
PC usage. So for the most part, I feel like, oh yeah, like I'm never gonna fall for any of these. But despite all of that, like depending on when you see it, like what you're doing, you could be slightly distracted or focus on something else, and suddenly like I fell for one. Like I would think I was like shopping around with coworkers. No, not coworkers, with family, and I got a text from a coworker, but it didn't seem. I guess I didn't really see it as suspicious at the time, just because I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. I was just kind of passively like looking at the phone, and it's like, oh, they need help. Oh, they're in trouble. Or like, oh, well, not like it wasn't like horrible trouble. It was like, oh, they need a hand or something.
Right.
And it was like the classic gift card one that I should have seen a mile away because I knew about that one, but it just happened to hit me at the perfect time where like my brain was just like slightly off.
Right.
And thankfully I was able to, as soon as I realized what it was, I just, um what's it called? Just redeemed the gift cards back into my account. So like
And
there
even
was like
with
nothing
that,
happened.
there's still like a human element, right? Like those are usually maybe it's a bot that's saying,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
guy
yeah, yeah.
behind
No,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
scripted. It's
And these were
yeah,
no, yeah, and these were 100% human
yeah,
because
like a
they
man
got
in the
angry
middle sort of
later
thing. Yeah, yeah.
when suddenly like it was a coworker to like this random person yelling, was like, "Hey, we're happy to the gift cards." Like, "Oh, I used them," but yeah,
Right, right. But yeah, it's just so weird to be at that point where like I literally
yeah,
I
no,
was
it
just
just
like I
something.
wasn't even like mind blown when the Wendy's thing happened. I was just like, huh, we're there. It's not like Siri, what's the weather? Well, the weather is sunny and 52. It was just like talking like a normal thing. We're there. It's weird. It's so weird. And I'm still like, I don't want to say rattle because it's very extreme, but I'm still kind of like reeling from the fact that I fell for it and I only realized it when the car behind me had an equally chipper experience. So, yeah. So that's me shaking to my core. But how was everyone else's Thanksgiving week? What were you guys up to?
I think I could top that. It's been still I don't know. It was fine. Nothing amazing happened. I finally had a little more time to play some more games. I progressed some more on Final Fantasy VII. Still going very slow through it. I think I'm like 8 hours in. Only thing of note was that I played for like 2 hours straight, and then I died, and then I realized that I didn't save during that time because the save file wasn't there when I was trying to load back in, and I was like, God damn it. So 2 hours had. Well, oh no, thankfully I did not have to replay those 2 hours entirely because I learned that the Final Fantasy remake port, HD port on the Switch has like a fast forward mode. You just click in L3 and suddenly everything is moving 3 times faster.
Yeah, that feature's
And
great.
then,
Final Fantasy 8, uh, that ports as well. The HD port
oh,
also
that
had
has
it.
it too. Oh, that's convenient to know. And then just like by trial and error, I try not to use these unless I have to replace stuff like this. But I also learned that by clicking in both sticks, you make it so that overworld encounters do not trigger unless it's something scripted.
Yep, same.
So you could just, run through the whole field, and then you could press R3 to basically constantly refill your health and and fill up all your status meters. So you could just spam your ultra move over and over again. I don't know if 8 does that as well, but if so, then I imagine all the remakes or ports would have that. Because it looked
Yeah, I
like it
believe
was
so.
just a blue icon that just like overlaps on the side. Like it doesn't look pretty.
Hmm.
It just looks like, oh, here's some extra functionality. Otherwise, it's the exact same game. But I guess I am on the second disc based on what I've heard when I tell some coworkers like where I am in the game. But I will say, oh my god, I I definitely got. I don't really want to say use the word chills, but like I was really, really like you know eyes glued to the screen over a couple sequences that I've played like since yesterday. Like basically the whole escaping from Midgard, the whole bike chase, then you fight the boss on the bridge,
Hmm.
and you leave Midgard, and then right now like the last thing I went through was basically finally learning who Sephiroth is after hearing how he's such a cool guy. But then before you even see him, you see like a trail of blood, and you see like his path of destruction before you ever even see him for the first time. And the first time you see him is like in a flashback, and I don't know, it made me really like him more as a character. Just like, yeah, it was cool. Like, it makes me really like Sephiroth that much more in Smash Brothers. Like, I was already
It's
trying
like
to make him a main
retroactive
character.
appreciation of his inclusion.
Yeah, because like I started secondary,
Sec,
sec, whatever you call it.
second, yeah,
I
seconding would
started
be
using
you
Sephiroth as a.
support his motion in a meeting if you were seconding. But yeah,
Oh well, yeah, my main is Bowser, and like now I also play Sephiroth. I've just been trying to for the past like couple months, but it was mainly just because like he just seemed like the coolest. He was just the character that looked the coolest, just pure cool factor. Don't really know much about him, and he just looked unapologetically evil compared to the other ones. And yeah, and over time, just playing through this section, seeing him go into madness, seeing the origin of his victory screen where he like looks at you and then turns away and walks into the fire. Like, it's eerie, and it really also makes me go like, I wonder how this all plays out on remake.
Oh boy.
But then I'm also like kind of remembering, because it hasn't been spoiled for me, but just based on little things I heard, like 6 hours in, I was doing that motorcycle chase and leaving Midgard, and from what I've gathered, you're 40 hours into remake and you're barely leaving Midgard, or maybe not even that far yet.
Yep.
But damn,
Mhm.
they're really milking this. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, I haven't felt like I needed more exposition. Like, I mean, honestly, I was kind of surprised how fast the whole Cloud, going in a dress to enter the Bumblebee Lounge or whatever. Like, that all came and went in like less than 10 minutes. And I remember, like, obviously the whole sequence in the remake lasting a lot longer,
Oh, yeah.
because you go through more of a song and dance.
Yeah,
Literally.
you literally
and
go through
figuratively.
the song and dance.
I would just like to point out, Angel, that you were just saying, I don't know if you need more exposition to the company that makes Kingdom Hearts and intertwines everything they do in Kingdom Hearts as if it's the most crucial plot points.
That's true.
So
Yeah, so I don't
you're
know.
talking to the wrong
So I'm
crowd.
kind of, I mean, obviously, I'll think about what I think about this one, and nothing will be able to change that. But now I'm kind of worried. It's like, oh man, is this gonna make it feel bloated, or is this gonna like really mess up the pacing? Because so far I like the pacing of
in remake.
Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, like how it affects the pacing for that game versus this game. Because right now it would feel like, the first 3 hours of Final Fantasy VII OG is like the first 20 of
Yeah.
remake. So it's like, is there just a lot of filler, or is it just like way more talking?
The
or
filler
just...
that is there, I'm pretty sure is completely optional. But I don't know. I really want to see you play a remake.
That being said, I also really appreciated seeing, I guess, a version of Cloud that was way more, hopeful and energetic, because I've only ever seen him as stoic, generic anime sword man. But yeah, it's like, oh, he's a character now, or I see him as a full character. And not to mention just, learning more about the Tifas and the Barretts and the Eris's. But yeah, I guess that was I guess my highlight of my last couple of weeks is a big jump in appreciation for Final Fantasy VII. But, and just looking forward to playing 8, 9, and 10, and 6. Maybe not in that order.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't do
yeah.
that in that order.
Really? Not in the order they came out as people experienced them?
Well,
like that was
one,
inherently
because
wrong?
6 is you've already skipped 6.
Oh,
but
not... yeah.
Final Fantasy
I see
6
what
is
you
probably
mean.
the best.
I mean,
Final
6. I mean, I don't know where to put 6. It's like, I kind of want to just go sequential with the 3D ones,
honestly,
and then I forgot about
honestly,
6.
yeah, I would go that route, because Final Fantasy 6 is like widely considered the best Final Fantasy game.
Damn. Which one do you think has the best villain, though? Is it still Final Fantasy 6?
I really
I'm
like
sure you
the
could
villains
split
for
to, like...
Final Fantasy 8. I really like those villains.
Oh. What about protagonist? Do you also like
Protagonist?
Squall?
Squall
I think
Leonhardt.
Squall's from 8,
Yeah.
right?
Out of all of them, yeah, I'd probably Final Fantasy 8 is my personal favorite Final Fantasy. Um,
Huh.
Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 7 I think are better games, but 8 is definitely my favorite. 8 has my favorite soundtrack of any video game of all time. Like the opening, not the opening track, but the track in the very first like hub world that you're at, Balam Garden is probably my favorite piece of music of all time.
Damn. See, that's what makes me excited too, because the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack has been, I mean, basically played to death everywhere.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I hear it all the time. And Smash Brothers, been hearing it everywhere else. Like, I mean, I love those tracks because I mean they're still great tracks, but you know, it's still Final Fantasy. Definitely curious to see what other music I've been missing out on this whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've heard some of it through Theater Rhythm, but it's not the same until you play it in its context.
Mhm.
Says the guy that always is like, oh, it's the song from Guitar Hero 3 when he hears the originals, or oh, it's the song from Elite Beat Agents. Now you appreciate context. There you
It's a little different. It's different for video game music versus that music, that kind of music.
I get what you mean.
Because that kind of music is more about like, I mean, like let's say you get your Meteora album, Little Jason is ready to listen to some Linkin Park.
Ready to rock.
Like, it's like, what is the perfect place, like, or perfect situation to listen to the music? Like, do you have to be, I don't know, was Linkin Park like skating music? Do you have to be like skating while listening to it? Can you just listen?
The one time I got a skateboard, I broke my arm, so not that. I was on it for all 4 seconds. But
do you have to be out walking? Do you need to be in a room all nice and quiet?
you'd be in a dark room,
The point is,
feeling emo and angsty, and just wanting to tell people to shut up when they're talking to you, even though that's a lyric from Hybrid Theory. I'm using it here. But
the point is, like wherever a music finds you or a song finds you, and latches onto you because you just enjoy how it sounds.
And
it just so happens that the first time I heard a lot of these songs were in Guitar Hero, which is kind of crazy. Or at the very least, heard enough times to actually process like the song itself, because whenever they would pop up maybe on the radio, like Curious 101 or something like that for some of the rock stuff. Like, I don't think I was ever really stopping to listen to them. It was just like, oh, it's that song. But then, in Guitar Hero, you kind of are forced to actually like sit down and listen to it.
Also,
and then you realize like, oh, this is actually a good song. Like, wow. And it's like you got your core memory there.
Also, in your defense, I was being a little facetious because the thing with video game music is it's tied to what's happening on screen, right? Like directly. So there is context added when you hear it, not in theater rhythm, but in the cutscene or the moment where it's actually relevant originally, versus a CD. To your point, you play it wherever, you listen to it wherever. It comes on the radio. You turn off all the lights and throw on your headphones and dance in the dark. Like, who knows how people consume music? But like the video game music, yeah, to your point, yeah, it's tied in very closely to the visual and to the interactive element and all that. So
yeah, it just has a whole other layer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really have a transition here outside of the fact that I mentioned the Switch at one point.
You didn't ask Kevin how his Thanksgiving was.
I asked everybody.
Did he answer yet?
In general, it was a call out. Oh, Kevin, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was fine. So onto the Switch.
Well, at least you were included now, Kevin. There you go.
Thank you.
We're all friends here.
And in all seriousness, I think this was the first Thanksgiving in about 5 years that I did not work at all. So that was a nice change of pace
nice.
for me.
Oh,
nice.
That is nice.
So you get some gaming in?
You had a full weekend as well?
I got a lot of snapping in, and I did play a lot of this one game that I'll talk about later. But the Switch was brought up first, so we can talk about that.
Yeah. So the Mario Kart DLC is finally over. What
RIP.
feels like was announced. Yeah, it was announced like over a year ago.
2 years.
And really, dang.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just remember it feeling like wow, what value? And yeah, like, I mean, it's so amazing. Compliments, all the compliments and praise for them doing this. But I did notice already that it got Smash Bros. Character syndrome really quick. Whereas I look at the DLC as a whole when I jump in Mario Kart, and then I'm like, man, there's only 2 tracks I like to use from this whole thing. Like there weren't that many overall tracks that I actually
What were those
loved.
two? What are your favorites from the whole collection? And then we could talk, I guess, maybe about the new DLC. But of the whole thing, what were the two?
Rainbow Road Wii and Rainbow Road 7. So
Well, you didn't like. That's fine because my two highlights were Ninja Hideaway and Squeaky Clean, whatever it's called, Squeaky, the bathtub one. Like I thought those new tracks were really fun.
they were cool.
Ninja Highway just has great
Yeah.
music for what it's worth. That's really what makes the track.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one does have good
Squeaky
music.
Clean Sprint.
For
Is that
sure.
what the other one's called? I'm trying to remember. Squeaky Clean Springs. Squeaky Clean.
Sprint, I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that it's over and that we finally got Diddy Kong. But I kind of miss already the just knowing that there's tracks in the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the same thing as like when they finally finish with the Smash Bros. Characters. It's just like now that it's over, it's just kind of like now what? But
Yeah.
I guess maybe we'll get a new Mario Kart announcement. But
not on
went
the
from always
Switch. We won't.
it went from like always having a reason to jump back to Mario Kart to not having one as often. I guess
I feel like
even less often.
Yeah, I feel like to your point, like everyone's like, oh, like I saw a lot online, and I even tweeted something that's effective. Oh, the end of the era for Mario Kart. 10 years since it first came out. Like we went from that weird Mercedes DLC. Remember that? That was weird. To like now this, and it was this whole arc. But I would argue to your point, the arc isn't just Mario Kart's arc. It's like the Switch arc because there hasn't been a single year since the first year of the Switch, that there wasn't some sort of, for lack of a better term, like fan service nostalgia bait DLC thing carrot at the end of the stick to kind of reinvigorate conversation with fans about some game that already came out. Like we had Smash, right? We had all the characters, like you were saying, and then within like a few months of that ending, maybe half a year to a year, Mario Kart got its new DLC. And it's like, oh, now we got to do the same thing with speculation and excitement and revisiting the old game, but for tracks.
Yeah,
And
it
now
feels
we kinda
like
closed
the
the
whole
book on that.
community is, waiting in bated breath.
Yeah, like there was always kind of like, oh,
As a-
what's
as a-
coming? What
as a
do they data
collective,
mine?
but,
What do we speculate? And that's been a big part of the Switch story since literally 2018, since Smash came out. And the fact that that's now over for both Mario Kart and obviously Smash before it, like I feel like there isn't something like that on the horizon for the Switch anymore. Like, sure, we're getting like
Yeah,
Luigi's
the closest
Mansion,
thing is
but-
just like, when will we get Metroid? That's about it.
not till the Switch 2, I bet. But yeah, no, it's like, okay, I guess you could argue single player Splatoon 3, like the Splatoon 3 Souls or whatever, the kind of like how they're doing that tower that you go back to, the roguelike of sorts. Like maybe that's something, but it doesn't have the same like Nintendo history intertwined. Like, I don't know, it definitely feels like this ending in Mario Kart and like those credits rolling and that thank you image they showed, which actually, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional when I saw. I was like, wow, this is quite the run it had. But that wasn't just the closing of like a chapter. That was like, I feel like them starting to close the book on the Switch. Because there is nothing, frankly, with long-term prospects of like, oh, we got all this stuff to get you excited for. It's just like, here's a Princess Peach game. Here's a Luigi game. Here's Paper Mario. Here's, kind of not flash in the pans, but like one and dones. Here's Splatoon 3 DLC that we already told you about. Like everything, especially with Pokemon's DLC now winding down at the same time. Like it felt very like, okay, the Switch is entering the Twilight years for real now. Like this is it. They're done supporting the evergreens. They're moving their attention to the next thing. They'll pump out a few more games. But yeah, this really felt like the end of a book more than a chapter to me of kind of the Switch story, which was odd. Given it's been so
and
key.
yet overall, my overall vibe with the Switch is that it doesn't feel that old.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Sometimes
Is it because we're
sometimes
old?
I have moments of like, wow, it's old, but at the same time, it's like it feels like it wasn't that long.
And it's not like you got the
that
OLED
the
refresh
re-
rate.
the re-
I
So you
don't.
can't even
He
like
didn't.
say that.
Yeah.
You can't even say that.
No, but I get what he means because, yeah, it feels like I think it's a symptom of us getting older, but I remember how big of a deal it was when there was a new 3D Mario, Mario Sunshine. I was so hyped because it was like, I don't remember the last time there's a new 3D Mario. It's been like half my life since we got one. And Galaxy was kind of a similar way. But now we're at the point where we've been through these cycles 4 times over, 5 times over. We've had how many Mario Karts come out just since the podcast, we've had, if you count tour, I think 4 different Mario Karts. So, well, 3.
Damn, I
4
never
if you
started with
count,
7.
if you count Deluxe, 4. If you count it as part of 8, 3. But still, we had 7, we had Tour, we had 8, we had 8 Deluxe, we had all the DLC. Like, that was over 10 years, but because we've kind of gotten older and time goes faster and we've been through this before to some extent, like, I feel like it kind of blurs a little. Like, it's not quite as big of a milestone for something like a new Mario Kart, for something like a new 3D Mario. A Zelda, honestly. Yes, the gap from Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom was huge, but how many Zelda launches have we been through that we can remember? At least close to double
But
digits.
Breath of the Wild felt like whenever I feel like we get like franchise cleanup or franchise revamps,
Mhm.
like I would consider Mario Wonder like a franchise revamp.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I'd
that
agree.
felt like a big milestone. And even I guess Breath of the Wild's direction definitely felt like
Yeah, no,
big
for
change,
sure, for
but-
sure. And there's freshness within that. Like Breath of the Wild did feel like a reset. I remember when
Splatoon is the only one that kind of didn't, except briefly with the DLC for Part 2
yeah,
and Salmon Run.
yeah.
But then that kind of dwindled fast. And
But yeah, no,
yeah,
I guess my
mean,
point was more the reason I think Mario Kart doesn't feel a decade old and the Switch doesn't feel old is we've been through this song and dance. We've gone through console refreshes. We've gone through, new games being just a replacement for the last one we just played. Like I'm not saying it's old hat and I'm not saying it's not exciting, but like the milestones of your, like when you're a kid and you're like, oh my God, the new Mario, I was not even alive when the last one came out, or I don't even remember it, or it was, it was half my life ago. Like the last new Mario for us, even if you count the 2Ds only, was Mario Wii U and then Mario Wii U Deluxe, both of which were like a decade ago. But that's only less than a third of our life at that point versus being over half your life ago. So it starts to feel less, you know what I mean? Like that's why I think time feels so quick.
yeah.
Yeah, but also so long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think the DLC was really. It was interesting how for the last pack they did here, they just kind of threw in everything. They're just like, oh crap, we ran out of time. We just got to do everything. So we got like 5 playable characters, like a bunch of Mii suits from Tor. We got the usual 8 tracks, but we really just kind of tossed it all in. Like, all right, here, just take everything. It's fine. I mean, there's some tracks they never are going to give us. They're probably saving them for 9 or whatever 9 becomes. But I thought of the 2 tracks, the second cup, Acorn, was it? I think there was Acorn was the very last cup with Rainbow Road Wii, I want to say.
It wasn't
Oh,
Blue
no,
Shell?
that was Spiny. Acorn was Rome and Donkey Kong
Pretty sure
Mountain.
Spiny Shell.
Yeah, Spiny was Madrid, Rosalina's Ice World, Bowser's Castle 3, which was basically a new track. Like, they put so much verticality on that. And Rainbow Road. And then Acorn Cup was Rome, DK Mountain, Daisy Crew, Circuit, and Piranha Plant Cove. I wasn't that impressed with Acorn Cup, but I really liked Spiny Cup a lot. I actually really liked the Madrid track. I thought that they had fun with that one.
Yeah, there is, I will say, a certain level of sameness that I kind of feel from all the city tracks.
Yes.
But the Madrid one does do a good job of making it stand out a little more.
I do think it was interesting because this is the DLC did one thing different for Mario Kart, which we talked about. I feel like on the old podcast as this DLC first came out, but they did that thing where every course they change up the layout. And it's not like what DK Mountain or not DK Mountain. Sorry, it's not like what Mount Wario does or anything like that, where it's like you're just continuing a single linear path. Like they literally are like, you turned left before, now you turn right. Or you went straight before, now that's a wall, you need to go right. And that was like I don't know what to call it, the big new thing in this DLC, I guess. And I'm kind of curious, because you made the point that it felt kind of samey. So I'm kind of curious, after having now had them run their course of the experiment, start with kind of basic versions of that, kind of get more elaborate with stuff like Madrid. Where do you stand on that? Do you like the idea of every course being the same but different, or every lap being the same but different? Do you wish they kind of stuck to more of a Mount Wario move or kept it just the same 3 laps? Like, I have thoughts, but I'm curious if I'm alone on this. Where do you stand on it?
Personally, I much prefer a Mount Wario
same.
take on it.
Same.
Simply because, it just feels more dynamic and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this feels like it's less about the race and more about like how many monuments we stuck here. Because I mean, yeah, like ultimately a lot of those like city courses and a couple others feel uninspired track design wise compared to like your regular Mario courses.
You could tell that they were like getting their feet wet with some of them back in Mario Kart Tour before they brought them to 8.
They definitely kept getting better and better for sure. Yeah,
Like if you compare like New York City with Madrid, or even with like a city that doesn't have landmarks like in the same way, like Vancouver. I thought the Vancouver track, even though I didn't recognize anything, was a lot cooler than the New York track, because the Vancouver one like had you go through like the soccer stadium and that sort of thing. Or sorry, not soccer, the ice rink, the ice hockey rink with the Shy Guys, which they repeated that motif with the soccer stadium in Madrid. But yeah, you could tell like they were very like, oh, we were just gonna do a basic city tour, and now it's like, oh, we're gonna like throw you in an art gallery, and now throw you in an ice rink, and now throw you over here, and or in an oil field for LA, which was kind of funny. Yeah, but I think I'm with you. I think the thing that struck me is it did something that I feel like Mario Kart doesn't normally require of you, which is you actually kind of need to really know the track before you start playing. Like, it's really hard if you just pick up and play a Mario Kart Tour track to know what you're doing. like it's not like it's impossible, but compared to like a normal 3-lap course where you kind of learn the course on the first lap then repeat on second, or a Mount Wario or something where it's just one line and there's no possible way for confusion. Like this one, like the fact that like you turn left, now you turn right, and you can still drive through the barricade that makes you turn left.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, out of bounds. Like that just isn't as
and
conducive for a party game like Mario Kart can often be, you know?
Yeah, and I'll say that the visibility of the large arrows that tell you what direction to turn, even though they're huge and blaring at you,
They're somehow still
it's
not
surprisingly
visible.
easy to just miss them.
Yeah, I ran into
Like,
that all the
I've missed
time.
them. I've missed them so many times, and especially in this last playthrough, I still managed to stay in first place, even though like I got lackitude so many times. But yeah, like they're really hard to learn on the fly.
Yeah, and it's just like if you're like a casual player, good luck. I mean, like I now know my way around some of the tracks very well, because like the LA one I know basically by heart like I would any Mario Kart track. But I had to play it a few times. Like that's not really true to the spirit of Mario Kart, I feel like. It's supposed to be very like pick up and play and you're on even footing. Maybe you don't know all the secrets and that's what you can learn, but to know the basic turns is a little, it's asking a lot, I guess. They were still fun. It just didn't. I wouldn't mind if in Mario Kart 9 they leave that behind, is what I'm saying.
Is
Like,
there
I-
going to be a Mario Kart 9?
I think,
gonna be
Or
Nintendo
is it
Kart.
Nintendo Kart?
1. Yeah, Nintendo
I
Kart
don't,
1.
that's a good question. I think they were moving that way for sure. I mean, obviously F-Zero was integrated from the start, and then they did the DLC on Wii U, which added, Animal Crossing and Zelda, and then when it came to Switch, they threw in Splatoon. Like, they were making those moves.
I mean, we got Excite Bike track.
We have Excite Bike track. Like, they're making, yeah, but then what's interesting is all... And then they did the Smash Amiibo costumes too, right? Like all the Smash Amiibo you could scan and get, like you could be a Kirby me or whatever. But I feel like when they started doing the new DLC, they kind of backed away from that. And I don't know if that's because Mario Kart Tour never had it and they didn't want to commit more resources to make the stuff. But like we kind of went like back into Mario plus Real World for Tour. So I don't know if they're like, let's keep going the Nintendo direction or not. But what I would love to see them do, and what I think they should do, is whatever Mario Kart 9 is, whether it's Nintendo Kart or not, like make it that. Like I think that the thing that's, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. The thing that's crazy about Mario Kart is the longevity this game has had. Like Mario Kart always did well for Nintendo, right? But like I saw a stat the other day from the latest MPD numbers, and it was on the top 10 chart in the US for 78 months in a row. That's insane. They basically, like if you own a Switch, you own Mario Kart. Like there's not a situation where you don't, obviously there is, but there's not like, it's not common that you buy a Switch and you don't buy Mario Kart. Like they are paired. It is a system seller. I would be very interested to see if Nintendo expands the idea of how like the DLC they just did with the Booster Course Pass is kind of like a pillar of Switch Online and like a pillar of
easily one of the best values in gaming. I mean, the base game already coming with the other DLC was already like an excellent value. I would have been perfectly content if we had never gotten DLC, but we did get DLC, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, basically, even if you bought the new DLC, like the Booster Course Pass, you're paying 50 cents a track, which is insane. Like that's such a value. But what I was starting to get at is they made the Booster Course Pass and that DLC basically a pillar of Switch Online. So in the same way, they would be like, hey, here's some new Game Boy games you can play on Switch Online, or here's whatever other new thing. It's time for your bi-monthly Mario Kart track. So, because you're a subscriber, you can play these 8 new tracks starting right now for free with your subscription.
Yeah.
If they
basically a
expand that...
subscription of Mario Kart tracks.
What was that?
Oh, yeah, it was basically a subscription.
Oh, yeah, no,
of
totally.
Mario Kart
Yeah,
tracks.
and if they expand... My thought is, so you'd have a console whose main system seller seems to be Mario Kart. Like, it sold nearly 60 million copies around the world. That's nuts. It eclipses all the other games by at least 15 or 20 million. And you have done and shown success with making a service of sorts out of the tracks. It would be kind of cool if the Switch 2, one of its things was like, you get Mario Kart, and throughout the Switch 2's life, or whatever they call it, they just keep giving you content on some sort of regular basis. I'm not saying go full game as service, don't do battle passes or anything like that, although some new battle mode stuff might be nice. But if they kind of did what they did with the tracks for Switch Online with the Booster Course Pass and kind of applied that to just the Switch 2 in general, and maybe they still require a Switch Online subscription for this, I don't know. But then they marry it with what they do with Tetris and the 99 and the Maximus Cup, where they kind of put out, even today, Nintendo announced first time they've done this, 2 Maximus Cups coming in the next 2 weeks, one to promote WarioWare Move It and one to promote Super Mario Wonder. Take that formula, combine it with the track pass idea. There's your Nintendo Kart. You have a core Mario Kart game, but then every 6 months to a year, or 3 months to 6 months, or whatever they decide, I don't know, you give some new track or some new character or some new something that ties into some other major flagship thing on the Switch 2. A Samus thing, a Samus Kart for Metroid Prime 4. A new Splatoon track modeled after one of the new battle maps in Splatoon 4, or whatever that's called at that point. It just seems like they have all the ducks in a row to do this. And that could be a way that they still keep it Mario Kart, but then they can enhance it into a Nintendo Kart by tying it in as a promotional tool or something. I'd love for them to do that. Basically Maximus Cups for Mario Kart from now to forever.
But that makes me wonder, does Splatoon have it in itself to make it to 4?
I think
Splatoon 4.
I think it does. I think in the US, Splatoon 3 kind of fizzled. But in Japan, the franchise is still... I'm not saying fizzled like it did bad. It did fine, but it didn't it's not an evergreen in the way some other games are. But in Japan, it's one of their top IPs right now. It and Pikmin are both huge in Japan at the moment. So they could easily do a Splatoon 4. But or even a Pikmin, Captain Olimar's space, you're driving a cart modeled after the dolphin to promote Pikmin 5. And there's a new track where and they could theme it like they did with Zelda and Animal Crossing, where instead of an item box, it was the rupee, or instead of coins, it was the rupees in Zelda. You could have you're plucking Pikmin on the track to get instead of coins. There's ways they could have fun with this and still have it be Mario Kart, but then expand it into more Nintendo tie-ins or something. And that could be the new hook, is it's this game that lives and grows with your Switch 2 experience or something.
It'd be cool if you could sometimes even get new weapons introduced based from...
Yeah. Because,
it just... never really get new weapons outside of the whatever they just pick it from the beginning. And that's it.
Yeah, I think... because, honestly, even I don't know what the hook would be otherwise. Granted, there's plenty of room. They could do new battle mode options. They could do... But I don't know what, the core... I don't think it's the issue of, Smash Ultimate, where it's well, they went too far, now they need to reel it back for the next one. Anti-grav wasn't even that big of a thing. It's just oh, you're driving upside down, but it feels the same. I guess you crash into people more. Okay.
It just allowed for cooler looking courses.
Yeah, and a little bit of you kind of want to bonk people and do the spin thing sometimes. A little hint of F-Zero in there, I guess. But I feel this idea, if they were to do it, of Mario Kart will grow and expand and be your companion through your Switch 2 life and always have something new for you on your, and be kind of a core pillar of what the Switch 2 experience is. Given that over half of all Switch owners bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that seems an easy kind of new spin on Mario Kart without actually going all that different from what they currently do. So, I'm a sucker for crossovers, and I'm a sucker for the Maximus Cup for touch. I was very excited when Nintendo tweeted out 2 Maximus Cups in one night. I was oh man, this is clearly that's working for them. So yeah, just expand that. That's where I think it could go, and then it could still be Mario Kart, but also be Nintendo Kart at the same time. So,
the dream.
Yeah, we'll see if they do anything like that. Watch, you're just gonna do Mario Kart 9. It's gonna be oh, now you what if there's no track and you're just floating through space or like some random thing like that? But I think it'd be cool if they did something a little more modern gaming thinking. Like take advantage of the fact that you can have a roadmap for a game for years and sort of play with that.
All I know is that if they do not let me, sign into my account on this new console and
They will.
re-download all
They will.
my games, then I will not get a day one.
Oh, actually, I don't know if they're going to let you
So-
download all your games, but they did confirm in their last financials that their plan is that the Nintendo account is what carries you forward from console to console in the future, which I guess the like
in the
in-
future.
no, like
Wait,
starting like the
explain that again.
Like, if it's going to be backwards compatible? Like with
They
my
haven't
Switch
said
games?
that.
It
All
gotta
they've
be.
said is your Nintendo account is a key component. The thing they care about most is getting people to make Nintendo accounts because they see Nintendo accounts as the way to get you to be like locked into the ecosystem. And they've made all these comments that are just shy of saying, so you log into the same Nintendo account, all your games re-download. But that seems to be what they're kind of, if you read between the lines, implying. But of course, it's Nintendo, so who knows? But they definitely seem aware that if you have a Nintendo account, you need to have your everything that comes with it, be consistent going forward.
Yeah.
And I'm saying
that
this as
would be a
weird,
big
as
change.
weirdly vague as their CEO was, oh god, what's the name of the current CEO? I'm drawing a blank. Wow, this I know we haven't done normal around Nintendo in years. I can't remember the CEO's name, but I'm being as kind of wishy-washy as he is because I honestly don't know. But like he's implying it without saying it. So Furukawa, I should have trusted my gut. I knew it was Santoro Furukawa. But anyway, yeah, he was kind of. It's in the Q&A, I believe, or in the slide deck or something from their financials last month.
Well, that's a big piece on Nintendo. What about you, Kevin? What is this Lethal League? Lethal Company? No transition.
Lethal Company.
Distraction.
Lethal Company is the latest and greatest hot craze game that has taken at least Twitch and live streaming by storm, I feel like. But I have been playing it a lot with your brother Elvis and a couple of our friends, and it's really really fun. So, I believe it's a game that's been developed only by one person. It's absolutely an indie game. It's first person. It's first person. I was gonna say it's a shooter, but it's definitely not a shooter. It's first person with this very sort of lo-fi, very very like low rendered look, almost like Return of the Obra Dinn. If you guys remember what that game looks like.
I thought that had such a cool look, like the kind of Game Boy come to life.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
It's definitely not as crude as that game.
One.
But it's very
Okay.
it's very 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 low poly.
Gotcha.
And essentially what it is, it's you and up to 3 other people, or 8 if you mod the game as we did, are essentially workers who are going to various planets and going into factories that are on those planets and picking up scrap and taking it back to your ship so that you could then sell it and essentially meet your quota. You guys are essentially enslaved to this company, and if you don't meet your quota by 4 days, the company will very very quickly terminate you by ending your life. So
Oh, that escalates quickly.
yeah. So it seems fine at first. Like you're going into this like factory and it's dark, and you can take some items along with you. The very basic ones are like a flashlight and a walkie-talkie, because this game primarily uses God, what's that feature? I'm blanking on it. It's not priority chat. It's
Push to talk.
It's not push to talk. It's like proximity chat. Proximity chat. It essentially uses proximity chat because this is definitely not a game that you want to use Discord for. Although you can. I mean, no one's going to stop you. But it pretty much uses proximity chat, and that's where the walkie-talkies come into play. That way you guys are able to communicate, because one person can actually stay inside the ship when you guys land, and you have a map of the area, and so you could guide them to like scraps. And it's not just scraps, like you'll find like metal sheets that'll, oh, this costs like $12. Let me take it back. And the quota is like $130. But there's also like little items that you'll find. So you'll find a Rubik's Cube that for whatever reason is $50. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me take this Rubik's Cube back. Where the challenge of the game lies is it's basically a horror game because these factories are filled with monsters. And not only that, this game also uses a day and night cycle. And I say that very loosely because a minute of real time will pass like 10 minutes in the game. And pretty much by 6 p.m., monsters start spawning by the ship and right outside the factory. And oh boy, it gets really, really hectic. And it gets really scary sometimes too. Like you'll just be walking down a dark hallway that you have a flash with, and you'll be walking down a hallway with a flashlight, and you'll just hear something like thump, or you'll hear a growl. And immediately you're running back to the entrance of the factory because you do not want to get killed. Because getting killed does incur some penalties. Like you'll lose a little bit of money here and there. And not only that, but if all 4 of your crewmates, or if all of your crewmates, because like I said, you can mod this up to 8 players. If everyone dies, you lose all of your profits. You lose all of your items. And that pretty much means like, oh, we're not going to meet the quota. The game is really fun. Obviously, this is a must play with multiple people. I don't know if even 2 people can like play this game successfully. I don't think the item scale to how many players, or like the cost of items scale to the amount of people that you play. But there's a lot of replayability because the warehouses, these factories, they're pretty much randomly generated or procedurally generated. That way, like each factory that you're going to isn't the same. The moons or the planets that you guys are landing on are pretty much always the same geography. But it'll be like sometimes there'll be some weather, so it'll be raining, or sometimes it'll be foggy, so it's going to be very difficult for you to see what is out there or how to even get to the factory or back to your ship. And like I forgot, there's a moon that we got that. Once you land, the factory is like a 30-second walk, but it was so foggy that we could not navigate there. And then there was this other planet where we know our geography really well, but it was a stormy day, and I had a metal sheet on, and because there's thunder and lightning, I would have to keep dropping the sheet and picking it back up because it was starting to conduct electricity the same way that it does in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Where like it slowly starts to spark up, and you're like, oh, I should probably get rid of this metal piece because I'm about to get struck by lightning. I have some really funny clips that I'm actually gonna share with you guys at the end of this because it's a pretty funny horror game. It's super fun. It's very low key. I wonder if it's on Mac. Angel, you should definitely.
If it is.
Angel, you should definitely play with us. And if it's on Mac, Jason,
I want to.
If it's on Mac, even better because, like I said,
if they
with the little modding,
are you gonna play after the podcast?
Or if they have the resources to port it to Switch.
I mean, yeah, theoretically, this would be able to run on Switch. Like, the game is smaller than a megabyte, I think.
Oh, but is it like server side most of it, or?
I mean, it's an online game.
Yeah, so that might be why it's so small. It's only on PC at the moment because it's in early access. It looks like.
Okay. I mean, it's early access on Steam. That doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be on.
Right.
Yeah. Or Jason, just get a Steam Deck. They just announced the Steam Deck OLED.
Yeah, I could have gotten a translucent super special edition one.
Even if you don't get it, you could just buy a shell and replace it that way. Jason, you should absolutely get a Steam Deck.
Maybe.
Jason, if we got you a Steam Deck for Christmas, would you use it?
To play Lethal Company with you? Yeah.
Or
beyond that?
Yeah, beyond that, yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
I would need to. I mean, I have a whole stack recommendations
Just
from
once,
you guys.
so he could talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
No. Hey, I still occasionally go back to the Playdate. There's this great little game called Root Bear where you crank the crank and you serve bears root beer. So I could go back to the Steam Deck too. Is my point.
Well, I know that
But,
Lethal Company, you can find a jar of pickles that are worth like $100. Um,
sold.
so
Buy me a
maybe
Steam Deck.
done. Um,
You know what's funny though is it obviously it's not all the same game, but when you're like, oh, it's an indie game about like this ruthless corporation, I just got a flashback to. Do you guys remember 2D Boy and like World of Goo and Human Resource Machine and Little Inferno? It's from like the WiiWare and like early Wii
Yep.
U
Mhm.
eShop. Yeah, that I realize they're separate games, but just this like, and I know Evil Corporation isn't like that unique of a motif or a theme, but it just for some reason flashed me back to that. I thought I'd throw that out there. Shout out to those guys and those games. Sorry, I don't know why I went on that tangent, but yes. Sorry, you're saying?
oh yeah, Lethal Company, super super fun. Angel, you should definitely join us for Lethal Company run. We got to the point where, so essentially, the moons or the planets. I'm pretty sure they're just moons. The moons. There are some moons that actually cost money to go to because the loot there is so much better than it is other places. So originally when we started playing, we would essentially just grab a couple of things and then go back to the ship. We're like, okay, we've met 50% of our quota. Let's just leave. No, now we try to maximize everything because there are some because of those moons that actually cost money to go to. That way we maximize our profits even better. It's like we've gotten to the point where like we've gotten really good at like communicating and stuff like that. But yeah, it's still a frightening game. Like some of those monsters in those factories, they are terrifying. I remember, you know that sort of tropey enemy in video games where they're sort of like mannequins where they'll stare at you and as soon as you look away, they get closer to you.
Booze from Mario, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Like the angels from Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, we'll go with that.
We went with the two examples that were not probably what you were thinking.
I mean, it's it's a common trope. You as soon as you turn away from something, it starts like running towards you, right? There's an enemy like that where I think they're called springheads, and one of my buddies was telling me, "All right, Kevin, look away when I tell you to, and then I'll have it follow me." I'm like, "All right, cool." And so eventually, he gets the springhead out of my way, and I'm looking at my buddy Thomas. Like, okay, he got him. And out of nowhere, a springhead behind me had actually spawned and I just heard like scurrying for a split second and then I died. And it was absolutely terrifying.
Oh man,
It was, I was so mad that I wasn't recording during that run because this game produces a lot of great clips and a lot of great moments with friends. So yeah, if you have a PC, like I said, this is not a graphically intensive game. I'm pretty sure a potato can run it. Like you'll be good with a couple of
Try
friends.
my work PC, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure they'd love if I install Steam on my work PC.
Would they know?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Every now and
Maybe
then,
find out.
I think like, damn, should I install Snap on my on my work laptop?
But then you never get
Maybe.
work done, let's be honest. If
Yeah,
you did
that's
that.
good. That's a good point. Yeah, so that's a Lethal Company.
damn. Well, looks pretty fun. I definitely want to join you guys sometime. Are we gonna play today? Maybe.
Let me see if I can scrounge up some goons to play tonight.
But while we get that figured out, let's see. Oh yeah, Game Awards. That's still a thing.
Angel, we have tickets. It's a thing. You bought
Wow.
you bought tickets to go to said thing, and you're acting like you don't know it. But it's the 10th anniversary this year.
Game for first I ever hear about it. But yeah, it's happening again this year. December as always.
December.
I was not
again,
ready for
you
this part
have.
of
It's
the show.
literally a week from Thursday.
Oh, damn.
It's on
So in
Thursday.
December,
Well-
December 7th, the 10th. I need to turn into the Jeff Keighley like announcer hype guy. Is the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards live from the Peacock Theater at LA Live, formerly the Microsoft Theater, formerly the Nokia Theater, in Los Angeles, California, featuring the biggest games and reveals of the year. And for the first time, they will not say world premiere before every world premiere. They are dropping that part to save those precious seconds, which probably add up to about 20 minutes, honestly. But yes, they came out with the nominees a couple weeks ago.
I wasn't
and
ready
we
for
have
this part,
always-
but-
Yeah, I don't have a list handy either, but we tend to make predictions. We tend to do like a pool among ourselves that has no outcome if we're right or wrong. We just do it.
Okay,
So
I'm
should we
opening up
do it?
iCloud numbers. I've never used this before. I'm usually an Excel or Google Sheets person.
I have not used it
When-
either.
when you're
Do you
done
want
this-
me to pull
when-
up
no,
the
when-
nominee list?
I've already
or
got
actually,
the,
Kevin.
I've already got
Okay,
this
good,
up.
because Kevin, you usually do this. You usually MC this part. So,
Okay.
but yes.
Take it away.
How would I?
I'm out.
Well,
Did-
he does that.
We typically did what you want to win and what you, what will
Yes.
win and what you think will win.
Yes, because I feel like for better or worse, and it's not a knock, it's just how big award shows are. This is in some way a bit of a popularity contest, right? Like it's not like some little tiny game's gonna necessarily sweep. Usually, you can kind of safely bet what's gonna take home stuff. There's surprises, but there's never anything out of total left field. So yeah, we do what we want and then what we think because of that. The
Okay,
bigger
so
question
I've
is what are they
this
going to do
done.
for a 10th anniversary? Are there going to be any interesting announcements? Will Nintendo announce anything? Nintendo is the most nominated, without spoiling any nominees, the most nominated company this year is Nintendo. And two of Miyamoto's babies are in the running. So I wonder, 10th anniversary, Miyamoto did the Zelda reveal at the
Next
first. Is he
Switch
going to
console
trot
reveal?
out? I doubt they're going to do the console.
Okay, there we go.
But I wonder if they're going to trot out Miyamoto for anything, really. I mean, the Mario movie's involved this year as a nominee for Best Adaptation. Like, there's a lot of, like, Nintendo stuff. So I wonder if he's going to... Stuff he's very directly involved with. So I wonder if we might get a Miyamoto sighting or a Miyamoto announcement or a Miyamoto tease. Or,
Okay.
you know, imagine the world premiere as he announces his retirement.
All right, let's go through. We're only gonna do the categories that I think are relevant to us because
Yeah.
I don't think best esports. You guys would choose a best esports athlete. I wouldn't even.
I
Choose one.
couldn't tell you any of their names.
Oh, I'd probably go with Faker. Makes sense.
All right, there you go.
He's a League of Legends. Faker will take it. Anyways, I guess we can start with most anticipated game. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8.
First time in like 5 years that Tears of the Kingdom is not on there for obvious reasons. Yeah.
I don't know. Most anticipated. Like I would like it to be Tekken 8, but it's definitely not going to be Tekken 8. What was the first one?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
That's going to get it.
That one.
That will win it.
That's going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Easy.
I have no...
That's gonna get it. So that's what your will win. Your will. That'll be. Your
I have
will?
no...
Yep. That's where I put my will.
I will also put my will on that, even though I want Hades 2 to win.
Yeah, I was going to say the only one that even has a Nintendo platform connection is Hades 2. So I kind of want to lean that way. Just, yeah, go Nintendo platforms. But yeah, Final Fantasy has it in the bag, I think.
So your want is Hades 2 then?
Just, it'd be cool if indie got that big that they could have that moment.
Okay.
And it's on Nintendo platforms. So, you know.
Just say yes.
Yes.
All right, this one's interesting.
Oh, that was the longest yes.
It's called a
Anyway.
political answer.
This
Very, very
one's gonna
good
be
political
interesting.
answer.
Best adaptation.
Mm.
So we have
Mario movie.
Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo the movie, The Last of Us TV show, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal.
The show on Peacock.
Or the show on Peacock. Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay.
I just thought I'd throw that in there for some
Thank you.
reason. You're welcome.
You guys are
That is a
Mario,
tough
right?
one. Yes.
Once
I love the Mario
Yeah, once
movie.
in a while.
As you guys know, I won't shut up about the Mario movie. I continue to rave about the Mario
Yeah.
movie.
I'm gonna put it on my want and will on Mario movie.
Okay.
The one that
Oh.
will win is Last of Us.
Oh,
Hands down.
so you think Last of Us will win?
I want Mario. Feel like it's going to be Last of Us because that's some quality prestige TV.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot there was a potential show on that list.
And honestly, it's a very good show. They did a very good job. I don't know
It's
much about
alright.
Okay,
No,
I
just
liked
kidding.
it.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
No, I know.
I know, it was
But I
cool.
want Mario.
I enjoyed it.
If Last of Us was not on that list, Mario would have it in the bag. Because Last of Us is on that list, it's one of the most nominated shows for the
rewatched
Emmys
The Last
too.
of Us 5 times.
What?
I didn't rewatch The Last of Us.
Neither did
TV show
I,
5
but
times.
As
I did
an
watch the Mario movie that many
adaptation, I mean, Last of Us is very good at what it did. The Mario movie's great as a Mario movie, and I want it to win. But realistically, just knowing people brains, I think it's gonna go Last of Us.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
Knowing
throw a
people's
curveball.
brains.
I'm gonna throw a curveball into this one, and for my want, I'm actually gonna put Twisted Metal because that show was really, really fun.
I had a feeling you might. I remember you talking about
that show came out of nowhere, and it was really, really fun. Okay, next we have Best Multiplayer. Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I will just put in Jason's answers here. Because I wonder what
you
he's
think I'm
going to
gonna
pick.
say? You're obviously thinking I'm gonna say Diablo 4, right? Not Mario.
Oh, I was going to put you down for Party Animals, but
I honestly, that game feels like it should be on Switch. I understand it's not because Microsoft published it or co-published it, whatever. It's bankrolled by Microsoft, but it feels very Switch ready. But yes, Mario Wonder for me.
Angel?
Yeah, Mario Wonder.
As Wants and Will?
Yeah.
I will say real quick, I know we kind of moved away from it. If you went back
Oh, wait,
5 years
yeah.
and said how stacked that best adaptation category would be, like just wait till movies and games are like this like no one would believe you 5 or 10 years ago. It's crazy how far game adaptations have come compared to like the U-Bowl days and all that. Yeah. Anyway,
Wait, was Sonic 2 this year? No.
Sonic 2?
Yeah, that was last year, huh?
What do you mean Sonic 2?
2?
Frontiers?
Sonic
Oh,
the
the
Hedgehog 2?
movie. The movie.
Oh, the
It
movie.
was
That
last
year. I thought you meant the game, and I'm like, that was 1990 something.
No, the movie.
Yeah, that was last year. And it was nominated last year, I believe.
I'm going to put Baldur's Gate for both of these.
I'm going to be honest. I want, and I think it will just because it has the cachet. Mario Wonder might not, it's not in the traditional sense the best multiplayer game. I said last episode, I think it does a lot of cool, like asynchronous multiplayer stuff with like leaving hints for one another. And obviously you could co-op play through the whole thing, and that's cool. But like, I feel like if you had like a raid party and like your Diablo game or your Baldur's Gate, like I could see that taking it as much as I think Mario might still win. I'm not
Baldur's Gate
putting all my
3
eggs
is
in Mario.
really, really fun with multiple people.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And it was such like a surprise hit and like
Yeah.
blew up so quickly, and so many people were so blown away by it that I feel like I'm putting like all but one egg in the Mario basket, and I'm taking one egg over to Baldur's Gate.
Well, you have
think it
3
actually
eggs
has a
to choose
shot.
from in this next category. Best Sim Strategy, which we never do this one. But
This
there's
one's
there's
Nintendo's
enough-
new.
Yep.
Yeah.
we have Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, City Skylines 2, Company Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4.
Angel, would you like to go first?
Give both the mines to Advance Wars.
What? Not pick. Oh, you didn't play Pikmin. Well, you didn't play either of those. I was gonna say you played.
Yeah, but Pikmin doesn't deserve it because it's not co-op, so it can just forget about my vote.
I am also
suck on one of those eggs
I'm also
from the
going
basket
with
that I took.
Advance Wars for my wants and will.
I'm going with Pikmin 4.
For both?
Wow.
I will say this. Usually, the best family category
For
is one that Nintendo
both?
does the Commandeers. Yes.
Thank you.
Usually, yeah. I was gonna say usually the best
Wow.
family category is the one that Nintendo commandeers. But yeah, this year they're in a different. They took over a different one. But the thing about Advance Wars, it is a good remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. But it's basically the game from before. Pikmin 4 is from the ground up, entirely new, and it's hailed as the best one in the series. It has a lot of personality. I don't know. I think Pikmin's gonna take it.
Okay.
Honestly, and I think it should.
Okay. Best Family. Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I can't
I
wonder.
think I'm gonna give Wonder's gonna win, or I give it my
I think
win
Wonder is
one.
getting my win.
But for want,
Just say it. You know you want Superstars.
what was the one you said before that?
Pikmin 4,
Before that,
Party Animals.
and before that,
Disney Illusion Islands. You want me to just give you the entire?
let's go with Illusion Island.
Nah, shut up. You do not want Illusion Island to win.
Yeah, Disney.
He likes Donald Duck, and he's playable in it.
Yeah.
This is not Disney Fortuna or whatever that card game is that you're playing.
Yeah, this is better. This is basically Animal Crossing, right?
No,
I actually don't know.
Island of Illusion is basically Disney Rayman Legends. So
Oh,
it's a co-op side scroller, Switch exclusive. Donald is a playable character. You're thinking of Disney something Valley. That's not Stardew.
no, yeah,
Dream
I
Valley,
confused them for sure.
Dream Valley. Yeah,
So Disney Illusion Island.
the game
Alright.
he thinks is Animal Crossing, but it's actually Rayman. Yeah,
Actually, it does sound really cool. Jason,
you know,
Mario Wonder.
I don't understand.
I'll-
I'm gonna really quick
I'll
just
keep it
say
there.
I don't
I,
understand.
I,
what
I
the
agree with. I agree. I agree with my choice.
You're keeping it on Disney. I was gonna say I don't understand what Best Family even is. In concept, it should be something you play with the family, which should automatically take Pikmin 4 out, because it doesn't really have a
You can
serious
absolutely
co-op
play
mode, as
Pikmin
Angel
4 with
pointed
the
out.
family. That doesn't necessarily
I
mean
mean, you
that they have
can.
to play. That they're
I
playing.
know, but it just feels like
Here,
it should be
here's
something you play communally.
here's what it says for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. There you go.
But again, you're not really playing as a family; you're watching someone play.
Appropriate
Mario
for family
Wonder-
play. Family play doesn't necessarily mean that the entire family is playing a game.
I guess, if anything, those commercials Nintendo runs where they show like Keenan.
Yeah, it makes it sound like they're
playing
trying to make it an event. It's like,
with
oh, we're
his-
gonna
yeah.
progress on this game today, and then we all experience it together.
Yes, all right, fine. Well, I
Yeah,
still
that
think
sounds
Mario
cool.
Wonder, is gonna. I think
For
Mario
both.
Wonder has that in the bag. But I could also see them throwing a bone to a different game because Mario Wonder's gonna win.
Well,
other
you
stuff,
just
so
choose a game, man.
I'll go with Mario Wonder for both.
Thank you.
Watch Disney get it, and Angel be like, "Ha! I knew the Animal Crossing game that wasn't Animal Crossing at all actually would win."
All right, this is
See,
going to be more for Angel. Best fighting game. We have God of Rock, which I've never heard of. Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6.
I think Street Fighter 6 is gonna win it.
Okay.
It did a pretty good job of evolving the series from 5, which a lot of people felt kind of, went a couple steps backwards. But, man, a lot of other good stuff there. Except, yeah, that first one, I never heard of them. Like, Mortal Kombat 1's story was still really cool and entertaining. And what was the one after? What was the other
Damn it.
one?
Nick All-Star Brawl 2
Ah, okay.
No
Yeah, that was the
chance.
other one.
No chance.
and Pocket Bravery.
That one, that's the one I would want to win, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, because all the changes they made to improve this game is, it's awesome. It's very, you could tell they really listened to fan feedback and just like redid all the animations. It's actually like they hired like a professional, proper fighting game animator, because you could see that like it's night and day. Just see how the punches are thrown, how the characters look when they jump, or even just like when they're standing still, it's in neutral.
And they added
And,
voice acting
yeah.
finally, right? Like the first one didn't have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The original
they're fully
originally didn't
voiced.
launch with voice acting, but they patched it in.
Oh, okay.
But I think it
But
was
yeah,
also
this-
like stuff that the characters had already said, so it wasn't as natural as
yeah,
it
they didn't
would be.
really.
Oh, it's
fit
just sound bites?
perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what are
Yeah, so that coupled with with all that, it's I think
Nick 2 and Street Fighter
win
6
that
for
one.
Angel, Jason?
Hmm.
I think I've heard so much good stuff about Street Fighter 6. I think that's going to take it both. I think I kind of want to take it because it did actually, like Angel said, push the series in ways that even I was kind of enticed by. Like some of the single player stuff is very interesting. And also it just, I feel like it had a lot of momentum behind it because those changes were
Ninja
so
Turtle
well received.
collab.
And it had a Ninja Turtle collab. But yeah, like I would say it's close between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 kind of came and went. And Street Fighter was like something that really had like some inertia.
Yeah, I was
Although
not necessarily
Omni-Man is
shocked.
pretty cool, we'll say that.
I was not necessarily shocked at how well Street Fighter 6 reviewed. But it was still like man, Street Fighter 6 is getting 10 out of 10s.
Yeah,
and
no,
the
it's
last
crazy.
Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 5, was a very mixed bag when it launched, compared to the launch of Street Fighter 4 back in the day. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Street Fighter 6 for my wants and wills. Best RPG, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Liza P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield.
Where's
the Kevin
Mario RPG?
category, it sounds like.
Mario RPG was not. Will probably
came out
be
too
on the
late.
next Game Awards.
Yeah.
All
They missed the
right.
cutoff by a
Angel
couple
wants
weeks.
Mario RPG on this list.
I don't think I haven't played any of the other ones or even know what they are. I
You
Right,
have
you
to know
don't-
what
you don't- you don't-
Starfield
you don't
is.
have- you don't have
Microsoft
to
wouldn't
vote. You don't
shut
have
up
to
about
vote.
it for 12 months.
I recognize Starfield, but I don't even think I've seen gameplay.
I mean,
Just
this
remember that original trailer with the sandwich? Was that the game?
it
Yeah,
had
that was a sandwich of somebody like being a sandwich pirate and just collecting all the sandwiches.
The scope and scale of Starfield is crazy. Like the amount of like world they crammed into that game is insane. But I don't know if that necessarily makes
What were
it
the other options?
that great.
God damn it! Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Liza P, and Sea of Stars.
Oh, Liza P. I'll throw once for that one.
Okay, my man.
Because, yeah, American McGee's Pinocchio sounds
Yeah.
cool.
Which
And
that's
looks
all.
cool
That's
from
all.
Little
That's
Ugly.
also my
Call a
wants.
callback.
Yep.
I think the success story of Baldur's Gate 3 makes me want it to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And I
say
think that's gonna
Baldur's
make
Gate
it
is gonna
win.
win it.
So
Yeah.
Baldur's
I
Gate
think the way it came
3.
up, even like I remember they teased it at the
It
Game
was like
Awards
prestige
for
gaming.
years, and people were kind of like, "Oh, okay," and then it came out and just like dominated and just had such good momentum and such good like fan enthusiasm, and it just like skyrocketed like late summer. I think that one's. I still wonder how much like Microsoft was kicking themselves for kind of like, we got Starfield and then they just ignored Baldur's Gate while Sony's like, well, you can come to PlayStation Baldur's Gate. We'll hook you up. Like they must have been kicking themselves because the amount of like how quickly that game grew is crazy. So yeah, I think Baldur's Gate's going to take it.
Cool.
Agreed.
Yeah, my want is going to Liza P, and Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna get that one for sure. Best action adventure: Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Tears of the Kingdom. So the sequel category.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna give Spider-Man 2 is gonna win, but I want Resident Evil 4 to win.
Spider-Man 2 will win, but you want RE4 to win. Jason,
That is correct.
That's a tricky one. I obviously want Tears of the Kingdom to win because I'm a biased Nintendo nerd. But I think Spider-Man might take it. I mean, like Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, I guess, is action adventure, but I feel like Spider-Man more defines that genre and is probably gonna take it.
I'm gonna.
Zelda doesn't. That feels mismatched slightly, even though it's really not. It's for some reason doesn't feel as good of a match as Spider-Man, and both are obviously very high quality games. So
Yeah, my want will be Spider-Man 2. I think Tears of the Kingdom is gonna take this one though.
I could see it going where Tears of the Kingdom doesn't take this and Spider-Man
Because
does.
you're saying
but
that
then-
Tears of the Kingdom is gonna win Game of the Year.
Yeah,
because
I could
whoever
see
wins
like
this
the
one doesn't
judges
win the
doing like
other
a
one.
pity thing one way or another. So like whatever wins Best Action Adventure may not win Game of the Year. So like if it's Spider-Man here, it's Tears for Game of the Year. If it's Spider-Man for Game of the Year, it's Tears here. Like I could see that switcheroo happening in either direction.
This one is Best Action, so minus the adventure of the previous game. We have Armored
Just
Core
whacking.
6, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
I want
I'll give it to
Hi-Fi
once Hi-Fi
Rush.
Rush.
Yeah,
because it
I
looks
think
cool.
Hi-Fi Rush is going to be all of our. gonna be all of
I'm
our
still
choose
mad
for
that's
wants.
not playable on Switch. I understand why it's not. I completely understand, but I really like that was one of the few times like, man, I wish those Game Pass rumors of Game Pass coming to Switch actually materialized because yeah, that game looks so cool.
I'm actually going to give my will to Hi-Fi Rush 2. Like, not because they're going to throw it a bone, but because it's apparently an amazing game.
Yeah, I could see it winning too, just because it stands out in a sea of all the others as being a little more unique.
Although I wouldn't mind seeing Armor Core 6 taking it either. That game was really, really fun. I don't think Dead Island has a chance in hell. Ghost Runner 2 I think just came and went. It didn't have the impact that the first one did. I still see a lot of people playing Remnant 2, but I feel like that's also another one that wasn't in the zeitgeist. It wasn't in the discussions as much as that first one
Yeah.
was.
I agree. I agree.
So
It's interesting. This kind of goes back to what I was saying about the popularity contest with the Game Awards. But like, if you're not in the zeitgeist, you basically, more likely than not, aren't getting anything.
yeah. Angel, what do you think will win?
Oh man, I don't know. At one point, I was agreeing with you, and then I just forgot all the contestants. What were they?
Armored Core 6, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2.
All right, Armored Core will and want.
Will and
It will
wants?
win, and I want it to win.
You want it to
Yeah.
win? Okay, interesting.
The man must like his mechs.
Jason, what's your will win?
I think it could go to Hi-Fi Rush just because it's different from. Although From Software is a favorite of the Game Awards. So
Yeah,
Armored
that's true.
Core, like a big favorite of the Game Awards. Dang, yeah, it might go to Armored. I feel like Armored Core. I don't want to say it came and went, but it did not have the impact I think From Software hoped it would.
Oh, I mean, I don't agree with you there, because it got way more attention than an Armored Core game had ever gotten. Ever.
Oh, for sure. But I read
sure.
something where they're like, "Oh, in Japan it's doing great, and overseas it's doing." So I was like, "Oh, they seemed a little bummed," but no,
yeah,
for sure
but
compared
considering
to
that
past ones,
the
yeah,
Armored Core
yeah.
games before would come out and no one expected anything.
Yeah,
of
and
them.
be like super niche. Yeah,
Like the fact that people were just talking about it, just in general.
the fact that we're having this conversation right now
Exactly.
is a testament to. No, but honestly, yeah, I think I'll say I think Armored Core might take it just because of the From Software tie-in because they developed it, obviously.
Yeah. Best AR VR. We don't have to do that one. Best mobile game we can do, because Monster Hunter Now is here. I'm gonna guess that you're gonna give that.
Wait,
Give that.
I've not played.
Oh, never mind. Let's move on. Best debut indie game. I don't think any of us played any of these games, so we're just gonna skip that.
Best debut?
what?
What's the list? I'm curious.
Actually,
Wait.
played all of them.
You did not play Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, or Viewfinder.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope, definitely not.
So
I want it to. Is Venba the cooking one? The like the narrative cooking game? Like it's the Indian
dog,
family.
I don't know. I literally told you that I did not play this game.
I want to say it is, and I remember it had a cool art style, and I think it has like a kind of touching story. So I kind of hope just for that it takes. Although Pizza Tower is pretty funny in concept.
Assuming it is that game.
I think it is. I'm about to Google it. I'm. You know what? No, I'm going with my gut. Venba is the cooking
This
game.
will not be part of
And I'm
our actual like.
This is a bonus
deliberations. This is a
Jason point.
bonus
Yes.
rant. Okay. Now
I will
gotta
say
make a
Venba.
bonus.
First of all, I'm making two predictions. One is that Venba is in fact
Yeah, I'm
the
gonna-
cooking game
I'm
about an
gonna
Indian
abstain.
family,
What is
and
this
two
indie?
is that I think it may take it, or I hope it takes it. I don't think it'll take it, but I hope it takes it.
Indie game, Venba for Jason.
Oh, hold on. Is Viewfinder what I think it is?
I don't know.
Is
I didn't play it.
it? You know what? Viewfinder, I just realized what it is. There's this game on PS5.
Oh my god.
No. Like you look at something and then depending on the angle you look at it or something, it completely, or you like hold up a photo and then it instantly becomes the thing. Like, and then you walk into it. Like it, technologically speaking, Viewfinder is really trippy. So Venba or Viewfinder. There you go. Bonus points for Jason. Onward.
No, you choose one. You are not getting points for both.
Oh no, I think I want Venba and I'm saying and Viewfinder will get it.
Oh, I don't have a Z access on this Excel sheet, so
It's
You'll just-
fine. It's my own little
it's your internal thing.
self-
Okay.
Yes.
Best independent game: Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. All games that I did not play.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to abstain as
I
well.
barely played the games I did
I'm
play.
gonna not guess on this one because I don't want to throw myself out there twice with games I haven't played. So
Best community support we can pass because I only
what's on
played
it? I'm curious. It's always the same games. I feel like
Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, which I think will win it. Destiny
they turned
2,
that thing around like crazy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky's on it again. I feel like Cyberpunk is the new version of the No Man's Sky story.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I think No Man's Sky has one in the past do that turnaround. So I think you're right, Kevin. I think Cyberpunk will win for the same reason.
Yeah. And then best ongoing is Apex Legends, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. I don't know why Cyberpunk is on here, considering they literally said this DLC was its first and last. And I don't think they have any plans on,
Well, all
making
the
like
bug
seasonal
fixes
updates. Have
all
been
the bug
ongoing
fixes
since
have been
2000.
ongoing.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Listen, if they
abstain
could
from this
trot
one.
out Keanu, sure, then trot out Keanu and give it to best ongoing. I don't know.
Yeah, last year I was playing 4 of these games. This year I barely played any.
That seems like none should get the award.
Yeah, I'm gonna abstain from this one.
It honestly, it's weird how they define this, to your point about Cyberpunk, because, like, not saying it's the best, but wouldn't 2 years and 48 courses in Mario Kart get you some nomination? You are ongoing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, like, it's really weird how they define this. So I'm going
For
to
Jason's
do a writing
wants,
candidate.
he wants
Yeah, Mario Kart 8
he wants
Deluxe.
Mario Kart 8
There you
just
go.
on the
Pass.
ballot.
Yeah. I'm just going to, they're going to announce it on stage and we'll be up in the rafters and I'll just be shouting, Mario Kart, Mario Kart.
Yeah.
When you hear it on the stream, that's me.
Games for Impact, A Space for the Unbound, Chance of I'm gonna butcher this. Snare, Goodbye Volcano High. This word is TCHIA, Terranil, and Venba. I'm gonna abstain from this.
I don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I couldn't even pronounce
I
one
will
of
say
them.
in past years I've known at least a couple. I mean, I know Vembo. We already talked about that. But I don't know the others. So, yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, innovation and accessibility. I think we talked about this we definitely did this one for 1 year. But Diablo 6,
We talked about,
Forza,
yeah, because
Hi-Fi,
Last of Us.
Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6. I think it's probably going to go to Street Fighter 6. I'm going to abstain, but I'm pretty sure it's going to go into Street Fighter 6.
I don't know enough about this year's.
one either.
Yeah, because I've only played one of these games, and I know Street Fighter 6 did of games that did get that I heard about their accessibility options. I did hear about Street Fighter 6, so I'll probably give it to that.
Also, I'm going to rewind us for a split second. Games for Impact, in past years, there's been some bigger games, and it's sort of, I don't want to say a bummer, but kind of a bummer that nothing scratched like the zeitgeist, got to like the zeitgeist level like in past years for games that actually like tell unique stories or tell about groups that don't get to have a voice. Like it was cool in past years when it happened. So the fact that it didn't this year is kind of like, oh, that's a missed opportunity for gaming as a whole, I guess.
Okay. Best performance, which I really only know one of these. Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16. Cameron Monaghan for Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba for Knuckles the Echidna. Melanie Liburd for Alan Wake 2. Neil Newbone for Baldur's Gate 3. And Yuri Lowenthal for Spider-Man 2.
In what game was Idris Elba actually Knuckles? I thought it was just in the movie.
I'm kidding. It was for Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty.
Because I was like, hold up, what? Or
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, why are they missing categories like that?
Yeah. You slipped that in very slickly. Well done.
I've only played Spider-Man. Oh, that's not true. I don't know who does this guy play? I bet you this guy plays the vampire. Whoops! Spoiler alert for Baldur's Gate 3. Sorry. Asterion. There we go.
Asterion.
Yeah, Asterion. Slight spoiler
I'm
for
sure
Baldur's Gate 3.
Idris Elba is gonna win it because he's Celebrity Man, so he has to win it.
Cameron Monaghan's sort of Celebrity Man too, and he's been at the Game Awards before, so he could take
but
it.
I never heard of him.
Oh,
And that's my bar.
I
You've
will
definitely
say,
heard Yuri Lowenthal before in multiple anime. It was Sasuke.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, anyways, I'm going to abstain from voting, but I'm pretty sure Ben Starr's going to take this one.
I want to
Final
say
Fantasy 16.
Cameron
What about that?
Monaghan, not for Star Wars, but because I really liked him as essentially Joker in Gotham, even though he's never actually called Joker. So I'm going to give him a game award for his performance on the TV show Gotham. That's how that works, right?
And Angel chooses Idris Elba for his performance in Sonic 2
in Sonic.
and the upcoming Knuckles TV series. Best audio design, I'm going to abstain from this.
Hi-Fi.
I would give it to Hi-Fi Rush, though.
Hi-Fi. Yep,
Yeah,
Hi-Fi
Hi-Fi.
Rush, I think, might take it. Because the whole game's based around that audio design.
Yeah. Best score in music, we have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, let's give it a Hi-Fi Rush. I haven't heard any other soundtracks for any of these games though.
I want to say Zelda because I have to stay true to my Papa Nintendo. But honestly, what Hi-Fi Rush does with music, I mean, it's actually in a way similar to what Zelda does with like the dynamic music, but Hi-Fi goes further. So I don't know. I'm really torn. I'm gonna say Tears of Kingdom might get it, but I'm gonna say that Hi-Fi Rush maybe should, and I can't believe I'm betraying Nintendo.
And then Angel,
I'm so
you want
sorry.
Hi-Fi Rush to get it, but who do you want to get it?
Hi-Fi Rush as well.
Okay.
Koji Kondo, please don't disown me, even though you've never met me, and even though you didn't actually do the music for Tears.
I would want Baldur's Gate 3 to take it, but I have heard some of the tracks on Final Fantasy 16, and they cooked in that game with that game soundtrack. So I'm gonna give the will to Final Fantasy 16. Some of those
And I
tracks
hope that's how they announce
amazing.
the winner. By the way, they specifically say Final Fantasy 16. You guys cooked. Here's your award.
Yeah. Best art direction, we have Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Liza P, Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom.
I
That's
guess we'll say Wonder, but I guess we'll maybe. Damn, I don't know. We'll just get thrown to Liza P.
For will win?
you think Liza P's gonna win? No offense to Liza P.
Yeah, no offense to Liza P. I love that game, but I don't think that's going to win.
It's pretty generic looking. all
I'm
things considered.
probably going to give it to Hi-Fi Rush that will win it.
I think Hi-Fi Rush might be the Trojan, like the sleeper hit of
stick
this
with
award
it.
show.
Okay. And what do you want to win, Jason? Tears?
No, I think actually.
The thing
Yeah.
the thing with Tears is that we've
think
seen it
Tears.
before.
Same way, yeah. That's why I'm kind of torn, but they do, yeah. But like the stuff they do with the sky, it's really like but that's not art direction. It's just direction. I'm gonna give it to Wonder because at least it felt a little more like they cartoonified Mario in a way they never had before. In the same way that you could argue Hi-Fi Rush to basically animate an action game, they cartooned a Mario game. So I'll hope for Wonder because yeah, Tears of the Kingdom they do a good. I think best direction versus best art direction is more in Tears' favor.
We do have best game direction, but I don't know.
Yeah,
if we
look at
want
that.
to.
Tears. There we go.
Best game
is
direction
is
awarded
Tears on
for
the list?
outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom.
I take it back before when I said that action adventure game and game of the year would flip each other. I think best direction and game of the year, one's gonna get one, one's gonna get the other. I kind of think it should go to Tears. If I had to pick between the Nintendos, because there's two of them, I think Tears, like Mario, they do some fun stuff with it and going wacky with it is fun and there's a direction there for sure. But I feel like Tears, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that might get best direction over Mario if I had to pick within Nintendo and what I would want within Nintendo.
Yeah, I think I would give it's gonna win to Zelda, but I guess Wonder, but it probably won't. But yeah, no, Diddy.
What about you,
I
Kevin?
will give it to. I haven't finished Spider-Man 2, but it doesn't necessarily do anything that's brand new. I would probably give the one to Baldur's Gate 3,
Interesting.
but
I can
I
see
will
that.
give my will to Alan Wake 2 because I've seen some of the things that game does, and at some point I'm going to play it and I'll talk about it in this podcast because, spoiler alert, it apparently takes place in the same universe as Control, and I loved Control. So much that I
They
started
actually
replaying
crossed
it.
them over?
Yes.
I heard
So
rumblings they might, but interesting.
no, yeah, they did, and so and like I said, I've seen some of the things that game does, and it's super cool. So I'm probably in game direction to Alan Wake.
To be honest, Alan Wake makes sense. If it's not good, like that game is so narrative driven and so like it's basically a TV show in a way that you
Yeah.
play. So I could direction it. The term direction makes the most sense for that game in a way.
Do you know the Switch version is worth getting?
Of Control or of Alan Wake 1?
Alan Wake.
I don't. Is there? I don't think there is a Switch.
The
version.
original's on Switch.
Oh,
but
the
not
original.
sequel.
I don't know how
Yeah.
that game runs. So
I want to say it's Cloud, but I might be wrong.
Really? Oh, I
I
think
mean,
you're
my
right.
Control is Cloud.
Control
for
was
sure.
Cloud, and
But
Control
it
played
might not be.
fine
I'm
and
checking
looked
right now.
fine. So, yeah, Control looked and played fine.
It is not Cloud. It's a remastered version, actually.
But is the remastered version Cloud?
It's Nintendo.com is not loading. So we're just gonna have to guess. I actually don't think it is. I think Control was, but I think they actually optimized it with the remaster for Switch specifically.
Well, we will know someday. Maybe someday.
Someone's shouting at
It
their
was
podcast.
it was
it's
released
Cloud,
for
it's
Nintendo
Cloud.
Switch October 20th, 2022.
Of last
It
year.
didn't say anything about
Yeah.
Cloud, so.
It was like a Halloween surprise. They announced it with like a week's notice. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait.
All right, what else we got?
The big one. Marvel Snap Season of the Year. Your choices
Brought to you by Marvel
are-
Snap.
Brought to you by Marvel Snap. The choices are Flyer Further Faster, which is the current season that we're in. Animals Assemble, which was the animal themed season. I'm just wondering how long you guys are gonna let me keep this one.
I want you to do 5. You committed to the bit, so you
Damn
got to
it.
follow through.
Yeah, I was waiting to see like, oh, is they gonna pick my favorite season? I gotta wait to see.
Game of the Year. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. I was about to open up the wiki for Marvel Snap, but I got too lazy.
Fair enough.
This is a hard one. This year has
It's
been
stacked.
such a good year.
Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win it, but I want Mario Wonder to win it. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Wonder, Baldur's Gate 3. I'm probably as much as I love the Spider-Man games, I kind of want Alan Wake to take it. I played the first one. I never beat it. Like I said, some of the things that I've seen that game do, and even like on a graphical level, it's like amazing. Baldur's Gate is gonna take it.
Baldur's Gate's going to take it. I agree.
And your Tears for Want?
Probably Mario Wonder. I mean, I'm a Mario diehard through and through. Like, I like Zelda, but Mario's my jam. Like, I think I want Mario Wonder to take it. I'm still going through the game. I was playing it the other night some more, actually, and it's just... It does just enough to be familiar, but just enough to feel new. I feel like, yeah. And the multiplayer stuff I talked about last episode, I want it to be
wonderful. Yes, wonderful.
I want it to be Wonder, yeah. But I think it's going to be Baldur's Gate. But this year's tough. Like this, I feel like we have had one of the best years in games in a very, very, very long time. Just if you think of like just how well, like any game anyone is anticipating this year pretty much came out really well. Like I don't recall there being any games that like didn't stick their landings this year. Like so many are rated so high. It's a tough year.
Yeah, pretty good year for gaming for sure.
Yeah, it's like the pent up like pandemic years of like, you know, things getting like all the delays and stuff, they all like just hit at once now.
Everyone got their groove back.
Yeah. So I think Baldur's Gate's gonna take it just because that one really came in out of nowhere and was such a high quality thing. And it's kind of outside the norm. Like it's an indie studio sort of. Yeah, I think they're gonna take it.
Yeah, well, that is our 2023 Game Awards predictions for the winners.
I am pretty confident with my pick.
All
I
right.
don't know about you guys.
Biggest bombshell announcement. Go.
Last Ronin trailer. Yep, that's gonna be the biggest bombshell.
I mean, for you, that is a bombshell.
That would
absolutely,
be
that's fair.
That would be crazy, yeah. I don't know if they can like you're talking like world premiere, like brand new unannounced.
World premiere, but they don't use that term anymore. So
Sure.
just fade to black, and there it is. Yeah,
It's
but
derogatory.
it's insulting to the premieres that are just not world. No, but yeah. What do you
Like
think's
new
gonna be the
announcement.
biggest
Like
news?
new announcement?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm thinking.
There's an easy out. There's a very easy out if you want it. It was gonna be mine, but I'll give it to you.
Sure. I want to
GTA
hear it.
6. GTA
Ryan
6.
Seacrest joins the Game Awards.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
That's not a
They-
bombshell though. Like
they said the
I'm
trailer
sort of
will
expecting that
debut
there.
First early
Yeah,
December.
the Ryan Seacrest will
like they've
join?
already announced that the game is real and we will have a trailer next month. Like that's not a real bombshell.
I guess it's not really a bombshell. It's more just a big high-profile game. You're right. For
Yeah.
me personally, the biggest bombshell would be a reboot of the Custom Robo franchise from Nintendo.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. But it would be a
I
bombshell.
wish it would.
Yeah.
And also, to be fair, Nintendo now treats the Game Awards as like a B-tier announcement space. Like they don't do like their biggest games. They do like Bayonetta, but the spin-off. So, Origins. So maybe Custom Robo would show up as like a weird commercial. Who knows?
Oh, for me, it would actually be a Resident Evil 5 remake. That would blow my mind. I love Resident Evil 5 so
Ooh,
much.
that'd be
I mean,
pretty
they're
cool.
they're getting up to it. It's next, right? So
If they
Yeah,
decide to
technically.
do it, but yeah,
Given how
Resident
well
Evil,
Yeah,
Resident Evil 5
I
would
feel
be
like we either get a
biggest.
cutoff or they're just gonna go all the way. But
Because if I remember correctly, Resident Evil 2 was during the PS3 or was during one of the PS4 or the PlayStation conferences. When did Resident Evil 4 get announced?
I
it wasn't at the Game Awards. I know that.
It was not.
Wasn't it during E3?
Yeah, it was during E3, I think.
Oh yeah, it was in
Sony's presser,
the, yeah,
maybe?
it was their state of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You know what actually
no
would be a
Resident
good
Evil
bombshell?
5, but it'd still be a bombshell for me.
I got a good bombshell. Banjo-Kazooie coming back. There's been smoke around that for years, but there's never fire. Now the smoke's died down. So now after the rumors have stopped, there it is. Surprise, Banjo's back. And Nintendo and Microsoft are on good terms. They just announced Jet Force Gemini for Switch Online last week. That's on top of GoldenEye already. So who knows? Maybe Banjo's back and maybe he's on Switch and Xbox.
I need
That's
to
my wild
turn
card
that service
bombshell.
back on. I have no idea what's even on that service anymore.
Yeah, no, they
So,
to
don't be
everyone's
surprised.
surprise, they put Jet Force Gemini, or it comes out. Jet Force Gemini comes out next month in December, but they
Well,
announced it
never
last
played that
week.
game before, so that's actually pretty cool.
I inexplicably have a strategy guide for the game, but I never owned it. The game. So I have all the tips
It
at the
was meant
ready.
to be.
I just haven't applied them to the game. So
Ah. Well, speaking of game, I guess there was that one game, but it was also a movie. But someone watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off? Was it you, Jason?
no, surprisingly.
Was it you,
I've
Kevin?
been muted this entire goddamn time. God damn it.
Wow.
How long were you talking?
It was nothing important. I'm actually now worried about the audio to see. No, because you guys were responding to pretty much everything that I was saying. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the newest Netflix anime with an asterisk on that anime part. Did you guys watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, or did you
Yes.
guys read the graphic novels?
The movie?
Yeah, the movie.
I saw the movie, did not read the graphic novels, but watched/saw recaps of it.
Okay.
I have seen the movie in
Okay.
my Michael Cera fandom days. I'm still
Okay.
a fan, just in my peak, and that's as far as I went. But I very much enjoyed the movie.
Okay, yeah. The basics for the movie and the graphic novels is we have the main character Scott Pilgrim, who's 2020, who's 22 years old, and that is important for the plot. And he essentially meets this mysterious girl named Ramona Flowers that he begins dating, and the caveat with that is that he has to defeat her 7 evil exes. There was an adaptation of I wouldn't say a loose adaptation, but it was an adaptation of the graphic novels called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The title actually being the title of the second graphic novel or the third graphic novel. And to say that I loved that movie would be an understatement. I adored that movie since the first trailer hit the internet. I made shirts that Scott wore in the movie. I bought a bass guitar because Scott plays bass. I started
Wow.
listening to Metric, whose
Oh.
lead singers look directly influence one of Scott's exes. And Metric is one of my favorite bands.
Metric's great, yeah.
Yeah. Very Canadian, Scott Pilgrim vs. the
Oh,
World.
yeah.
Talking about impact.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't realize it had that much of an impact.
Oh yeah, and then
Yeah, I
of
didn't
course
realize it was that big for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's the whole Scott Pilgrim dating. I didn't want to be Scott Pilgrim because he dated a high schooler, but that also has an asterisk. That's its own discourse. That came back when this anime came out. I saw the movie, I think 3 times in theaters. One of the times, was for the Blu-ray release. Where I went to the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, and after the movie, there were some of the stars. So like Michael Cera was there, Mary Elizabeth
What?
Winstead was there,
I'm jealous.
Edgar Wright was there.
Wow, just like, where was I?
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm like, where was I? I'm very jealous. I mean, I
and-
love
Can you
Michael
just check
Cera.
Foursquare or whatever?
Yeah, and it
to,
was
like, or Beehive.
there was a panel with them that was being moderated by Guillermo del Toro of all people.
What on earth? When was this?
This was
year?
for the
Did I know
Blu-ray
you?
release.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know you yet. You
Yeah.
get a pass.
I
That's
actually
fine.
took a photo with Edgar Wright and Michael Cera, and I don't know where those photos are. They're probably in my photo
How-
bucket account.
Let's real quick. Let's back up for a sec. I've known you how many years, and this has never come up.
That's a good
How
point.
is that possible?
When has Scott Pilgrim ever come?
I don't know, but
Exactly.
that and Edgar Wright and Michael Cera and meeting them all, like
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Huh,
it was a really cool night.
that's
It
super
was
awesome.
it was back when I still didn't drive, which is crazy now that I think about it. That being said, like, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was unfortunately like a one and done movie that, like I said, very, very loosely adapted the graphic novels. The novels really delved more into the characters, and there was way more slice of life moments between characters while still being over the top with the situations that they were in. But like even so, the movie still has like that great kinetic style that Edgar Wright is known for. And yeah, I actually don't own that movie on Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray for that matter. That movie probably
is
looks
very surprising.
that movie actually probably looks really, really good in
That
4K too.
I'm-
Like it's so colorful.
Oh, I
sounded
bet.
like you were gonna owe. It sounded like you were like gearing up to say like I have like 4 different versions of it,
No.
but no.
I remember I did put my I did
even digitally.
not even digitally. I do remember putting my ticket stubs for the times that I did see the movie in my high school like time capsule thing that they opened up for the 10-year reunion that I just never went to. I like it. Yeah, that movie had a real big effect on me. And like fans have been demanding a sequel or like a new adaptation for Scott Pilgrim that we just never got. And then this anime / cartoon / show, whatever you want to call it, was announced. And it was really, really exciting. Or not even announced. It was sort of in a press release by Netflix saying that, hey, this is being done, just FYI.
Yeah, it was the most offhand announcement of a cult classic thing.
Yeah, it was like Scott Pilgrim show is being developed, and we're like, all right, cool. And then it was eventually announced that it was bringing back the entire main cast, which the entire main cast is now filled with TV and movie superstars. And they got
even if it was just like a
everybody.
gimmick, like it's a really good gimmick.
Yeah,
Like damn.
and then they're like, oh, Anamanaguchi, the same band that composed the beat 'em up Scott Pilgrim game, was going to be composing some of the music here. It was sort of like a dream come true because it's also being produced by Edgar Wright, the director of the movie. And it's being like the showrunner was Brian Lee O'Malley, the original artist and writer for the show. And then it was getting animated by Science Saru, who actually produced one of my favorite animes, Devilman Crybaby, which was another Netflix anime. So it's just like this perfect storm of an adaptation. It looks and sounds great. The animation, especially the fight scenes, are so creative and so frenetic. It like the character models. It's like a perfect visual adaptation, and then the score is really good. And there's some great needle drops that like feature artists like Johnny Cash and the Dead Kennedys, who Dead Kennedys is like one of my favorite punk bands, and I nearly shot up when I started hearing their song, because Dead Kennedys are never used in TV shows, especially shows as like not family friendly as this, because this is definitely an adult show. But it was still really, really great to see, or not to see, to hear. And like, speaking of hearing, like, the voice acting started a little rough for me, I'm not gonna lie, because it's not necessarily that the voice cast is doing a bad job, but mainly it's hard to hear Lucas Lee, a character in the show, being voiced by Chris Evans of all people. Like, this super, super gruff guy, and I just like, man, that's Chris. They actually got Chris Evans to do this, and obviously they weren't in the same like booth recording these voices, but it's still like,
Yeah.
man,
To get
like
him,
Aubrey
yeah.
Plaza's in this thing. You know, Brie Larson is in this thing. Brie Larson
Anna
literally just
Kendrick,
had a
right?
Marvel movie. I'm sorry?
Isn't Anna Kendrick also in this?
Anna Kendrick's on. And it's
Yeah.
not even like little cameos. They get some lines. Like, they get way more lines than I was expecting. One aspect.
It must.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go for it. I was
No,
gonna say it
please,
must
delve
be,
into something else.
Okay, I was gonna say it must be the voice acting, not thing you set aside. There is something, and like I'm like all warm and fuzzy because you're so like it's something that's like your thing. There, and you're getting to experience it. There's something really cool about something you're a big fan of that you're super passionate about. Kind of like nailing it across the board.
So. And
Oh, it doesn't?
Here's
Uh-oh.
where the here and here's.
Uh-oh. I was so happy for you, but now I'm scared.
Here's where the record scratch happens.
There it is.
Spoiler alert for Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, because it's impossible to talk about this show without spoiling essentially the entire series. So I don't know if you guys care to hear about it. Angel, I don't know if
I know what you're gonna say.
Angel, do you care?
No, not really.
Yeah, if listener, if you don't want to get spoiled, we got timestamps in the descriptions of the
In the blog
episodes.
post.
So just head over
And honestly,
to
I don't even know if there's another topic after this one. We're coming up on 2 hours.
If you made it here, then just
If you made it
I
here,
guess
you
you're
can
done.
subscribe to us on any podcast app. And now, Kevin, spoil away.
yeah.
Actually, yeah. Do you want to just take care of the housekeeping now, and then we just end with it? No.
I just did. I did the abridged.
All right, anyway.
Yeah, so the first episode is basically like a nip and tucked version of the first graphic novel, where Scott fights the first Evil X, Matthew Patel. And in the graphic novel and in the movie, Scott wins. And in Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Scott loses and dies. And that is something that absolutely does not happen at the end of the first volume or the movie. So the show is really about the ramifications of Scott losing. It's pretty much a pseudo sequel / what if /
Wait,
just
he
straight up.
stays dead?
So the show is essentially Ramona trying to figure out how and why Scott was killed.
Well, that makes the title make a lot more sense. He's taken off from the show.
Yeah, he
gone.
takes off. He absolutely takes off. I guess like another spoiler alert.
Don't see
Eventually,
it,
Scott does
coming.
come back. Like I will say that he does come back.
Okay. Yeah.
And
The thing I knew is it was like a what if alternate storyline from the book and the movie. Yeah, that's the most I knew.
essentially it is a what if. But like it also
The marketing
is.
material did a really good job of hiding that, because
And
I feel
that's-
like I've seen so many different trailers, and they always show Scott
And that's part of
prominently.
Yeah, and that's part of some of the discourse that is happening right now, where like some people are feeling duped because they didn't necessarily say that this was going to be a 1-to-1 adaptation. But there is, some of the fandom that wanted to see the graphic novels come to life, essentially, right? They wanted to see those in
You know what's
motion.
funny?
And instead they got essentially what is a what if scenario. And like I said, it technically is a sequel. It's actually the parallel that I would say that best the piece of media that best parallels this show is actually a Final Fantasy remake. It's actually
What
really,
a
really
full
funny.
circle episode we have.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like, I didn't mind. I already loved these characters. So seeing them in essentially like a new adventure was like perfectly fine for me. But I can understand why some people are upset for sure.
What
But
was your so
I
when
loved it.
when that happened and you didn't see it coming?
Uh-huh.
What was your genuine reaction in that moment?
It was like, wait, I'm sure they'll do something in the next episode where Scott's back and then we're gonna go back on track, and no, it just never happened. And I remember messaging our friends slash friend of the show, Matthew, because Matthew was like I was his right hand man, and he was my right hand man during this whole Scott Pilgrim versus the World mania that we both had, where he was the very first person that I talked to, like, hey, the adaptation is apparently not an adaptation at all. Like, I can't even call this a loose adaptation. It's just its own new thing. And even that took him by surprise because, yeah, like Angel, like you said, like everything that they've shown is essentially like you cannot tell that Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is its own new thing.
Yeah, the only clue to that is just the name.
Yeah.
Like, it did find it kind of weird that they didn't call it Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So that did kind of make me at least go like, oh, I guess there's going to be something different about it.
I didn't
I have
understand
no
the
idea
name
what,
at all. And now
but-
I get it. Yeah, I was like, that's a weird name, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, because, well, like I said, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was the name of the second novel. The very first one is called Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life. And if I'm not mistaken, the very first episode is called Precious Little Life or something like that. So that was like, okay, yeah, this is absolutely just gonna be an adaptation. So, but nope. Yeah,
Interesting.
It was.
I will say, if like I'm not as much of a Scott Pilgrim diehard as you are, but like, if I think I'd be cool. Are you cool with it? It sounds like you're cool with it.
With what?
The adaptation, not
Oh,
being
I
an
loved it.
adaptation.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
by the end, it definitely was a sort of not a slap to the face, but it was definitely like a wait, what? This isn't going to be adapting the books, the graphic novels that I love. But by the end of it, I was completely okay with it, and like the series is great.
Okay,
The essentially the what if scenario is fantastic.
Because I was gonna say that if it were me with any property I loved, the second that it was in the hands of the showrunner you're mentioning being the original guy and Edgar Wright producing and all the cast being back and all the music being back, like all the pieces being what they are, I'd go on whatever ride they take me. Like I understand fans don't want direct adaptation, but this is all the original creatives. Like if it was like Mario or something, it did some weird twist, but it was like, oh well, Miyamoto and Tezuka did it together. I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll go on whatever ride they want to take me. It's their baby.
Yeah, like this is essentially a brand new Scott Pilgrim novel, So
yeah, just animated.
Yeah, so I'm not. I say I'm not sure why people are mad, but I do know why they're mad, right? People want to see those original novels, not a what if scenario. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I treat this more as a sequel because of the things that transpire, which that I won't spoil.
I'm gonna be honest. You just sold me on it because I thought it was a 1-to-1 adaptation. I'm like, well, I like the movie. I've seen the movie. I don't need to watch an animated, but now I'm actually very interested.
And yeah, and while Scott coming back is a sort of a spoiler,
It's fine.
the way that he comes back is very out of left field of that, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I almost want to rewatch the movie and then watch the show right after and kind of like compare and contrast the differences.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the books, or I keep calling them books. I'm sorry. The graphic novels, like my voice just broke. The graphic novels diverge from the movie pretty much after the first Evil Ex-Boyfriend.
Okay.
And like the movie is definitely just like a nip and tucked version, minus those slice of life
Sure. Yeah.
things that happen. But the first graphic novel is pretty much as close as you can get, with obviously like some tweaks here and there. Ramona used to be a Amazon delivery girl. In this, she is a Netflix DVD rental like delivery person.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can't put Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like little changes like that, which don't bother me, obviously. And I didn't bother any of the fans. It's not like people were looking at that first episode up to that that twist, and we're like, this isn't a 1-to-1 adaptation. Obviously, that happened after
Of course,
Scott
yeah, because it was
lose
a
the
bigger,
battle.
right?
But yeah, it's a fantastic series. No plans for a second season, which I'd be fine with. I'm sure this was a nightmare to record, especially like I said, like these are movie and TV stars. Like you got like I already said, Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Kieran Culkin, our favorite, or at least my favorite.
Oh, he's the best on Succession.
Yeah, he's our favorite, right?
Yeah, I
they
think.
got
Yeah,
yeah.
he has the best lines.
Yeah, Brandon Routh, like everybody from the movie. It's insane. Brie Larson, like I said, she just had a Marvel movie come out, and granted, it's not doing great in the box office, but
it exists.
But everybody knows who Captain Marvel is, even if they don't like her.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, they're huge names. It's like when Arrested Development tried to get back together after everyone got so much bigger, but even more so because the cast is bigger here.
And the best part of the show is it has an opening that is 1 minute and 30 seconds long, just like any traditional anime would. And that opening fucks so hard. It's so good. It starts with like this nasty, distorted bass line that you can imagine Scott playing, but it's actually performed by an actual Japanese band. It's so good. It's so good. The whole series, I loved it.
So my point stands from halfway through this conversation. I'm like, it's so cool that something that you have such a big fandom of and passion of, like, delivered for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I feel happy. Like I'm feeling like warm fuzzy about it because I know this feeling with stuff Nintendo's done or Linkin Park has done or like things I'm a diehard for, and it like everything just, the stars align and it's exactly what you want it to be, even if it's not quite what you expect it to be. And yeah, it sounds like you're having that moment now, so that's really cool. I'm really happy for you as a Scott Pilgrim guy.
I will
look forward to checking it out.
Hopefully they release this on 4K Blu-ray.
So you cannot buy it like the movie,
yeah. I've actually got a plan on picking that up because, like I said, that movie probably looks amazing in 4K. This show probably looks amazing in 4K, assuming it was drawn in 4K. I think that's what they do, right? They have to. They must make anime like 4K quality.
But usually, yeah,
because like
depends on how it's shot.
Because like Mappa has stuff on their YouTube channel that's in 4K.
Could be an AI upres.
Maybe.
It just depends if it's using like vector-based programs, because those could be upscaled infinitely and you won't lose any quality.
Interesting.
Which, if they're going all digital, they may be doing that.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Mappa's YouTube channel right now, and everything's, or like they're like Chainsaw Man openings and endings are in 4K. But I wonder if Netflix Scott Pilgrim takes off trailer. Nothing about this says 4K to me. Everything's just in 1080. Yeah, whatever. It still looks great. Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it.
You're actually gonna watch it? Interesting. Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I'm gonna start it. Like not right now because I have to put together the rest of the podcast images and blog posts. But like maybe this week, maybe next week. But I'm gonna start it for sure.
I would say you might as well watch the movie. I like the graphic novels are fantastic, but you wouldn't be missing out on anything if you didn't read the graphic novels, because
gotcha.
Like I said, everything leading up to that first fight or to the end of that first fight is essentially the same as it is in the graphic novels anyway. So. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I did like the movie back in 2009, was it, or whatever? But I haven't.
I think it was
2010.
I think it was 2010.
That was close.
Yeah, 2010.
But, yeah, but I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, so I definitely want to watch it.
Oh, no, that's a 2010 movie.
Yep.
Interesting.
That was a weird. What's that mean, Angel?
Box office bomb.
2010 movie. It was.
It was a
movie of that era.
It was one of the red flags that led to movie studios not pursuing Comic-Con as hard, because they went all in at Comic-Con for Scott Pilgrim, and it came out 3 weeks later and bombed.
And to be fair, like some of that marketing is not going to appeal to anybody that isn't us, because like I'm looking at the poster right now, an epic of epicness. Like even right now, that wouldn't work for me.
No, yeah,
probably that probably turned me off. And then like I remember the trailer had like it's on and then scene and then back to a title card like Donkey Kong. I'm like, okay, calm down.
Yeah, they went. I mean, at the time, I was like, "Oh my god, Nintendo reference! We don't see those in media." But obviously, we've come a long way since then.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably gonna do it
yeah.
for this episode, right?
Yeah, basically, I can't think of anything else. Jason,
Housekeeping. I can do
Kevin,
the fuller housekeeping.
yeah, might as well just take it away from here. So
All
I guess
right.
I'll
So
politely hand it off to Jason. Good
thanks.
night, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good one, guys. No, thanks, Angel. Thanks, Ken. This was the 30th episode of Random Nintendo. And if you want to hear the 31st episode in approximately 2 weeks' time, if all goes well, you can subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting apps. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts while it still exists, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and our YouTube channel at Random Nintendo, which just so happens to also be our Twitter handle. Why do I say it like no one knows that? I'm like, oh, what a coincidence. At Random Nintendo is our Twitter handle. Everyone knows that by now. Anyway, they're both at Random Nintendo. You can find us there. You can also find us individually on the internet. I am JSR7 on Twitter and on Threads and on everything. Kevin is KVN Gomi on Twitter and Threads.
No, because my Instagram handle is Kivian Gomez. So I think you.
And that's how they learn your last name. Another full circle moment this episode. But yeah, so you can find him there, and you can find Angel's thoughts in illustrated form at World of Weros with an S at the end on Instagram. So that does it for me. I was going to toss it back to Angel, but I just realized he said goodnight. So I think we just go straight to Kevin for the final word.
Oh man, I gotta edit out that F-bomb, don't I?